African Focus. African Focus Show.
Write and plead with you. Believe in yourself and believe that you're somebody. And as I said to the group last night, nobody else can do this for us. No document can do this for us. No Lincolnian Emancipation Proclamation can do this for us. No Kennedysonian or Johnsonian Civil Rights Bill can do this for us. If the Negro is to be free, he must move down into the inner resources of his own soul and sign with a pen and ink of self-assertive manhood his own Emancipation Proclamation. Don't let anybody take your manhood. Be proud of our heritage. As somebody said earlier tonight, we don't have anything to be ashamed of. Somebody told a lie one day. They couched it in language. They made everything black, ugly, and evil. Look in your dictionary and see the synonyms of the word black. There's always something degrading and low and sinister. Look at the word white. It's always something pure, high, and clean. But I want to get the language right tonight. I want to get the language so right that everybody here will cry out, yes, I'm black, I'm proud of it, I'm black and beautiful.
Baby, the way that you're looking tonight, I swear you're too tight. Baby, move. And everybody wanna mingle because you're just single. But you made it clear to them that I am your number one. Put up your eyes on me. They make me one color. You took my heart away because you too hot. What I didn't put she took my heart away. You set my soul on fire. You are my heart desire. What a man and a bed what a wapamano. Baby, the boom madule. Baby, go by passing you. Baby, baby, no the door. Anywhere she the wine and she go start to the sample low waist. You took my heart away. Because you too hot, you too sexy. What I didn't put up on you. She took my heart away. Because you too hot, what I didn't put up on you. She took my heart away.
Time in some, I tried here for forever. Make the shower, make shower, sunny, me points. So, we are me royal lady. It's answer, we are me royal lady. Yeah, we are me royal lady. Make it time in some, royal lady. achadi me the chawo. Near what done some no the mo. Cause you Mariah lady. And then to make it a minsem royal lady. Missing me makume achadi me the chawo. Near what done some no the mo. Cause you Mariah lady. Ain't in a make it time and Sam royal lady.
African Focus. African Focus Show.
Welcome to the best African Focus Show in Los Angeles. Thank you for listening. You are listening to the best African show in Los Angeles. We're coming to you live from our Los Angeles studios. I am your host today, Nicole Simpson, and in studio with me, I have the best African Focus team. Yeah. I have with me Miss Angela Gordon, the lovely.
Good morning. Good afternoon, actually, huh?
Sorry.
Yeah, that's
right.
I have the beautiful, well-dressed Mr. Adi J.
Thank you. Thank you.
Paulina is going to be producing for us today, and our executive producer is with us. And Norma is with us today, another producer, and we have in-house a guest that we'll be bringing to you later. And also today we're going to be talking to you about the families that are going to be inducted on our big event on the 25th of April. But right now, we want to thank our sponsors for keeping us on the air.
That's right. Thank you. Some people, some organizations are responsible for us being here every Saturday, bringing this show to you. Let's start by thanking Eric Airlines for all your African travel and experience. Fly Eric Airlines and experience first-class hospitality. We also like to thank MoneyGram International for offering the most reliable and inexpensive way to send money to your loved ones in Africa, the Caribbean, as well as here in the United States. We want to say much love and appreciation to them for their continued support. Ethiopian Airlines, the new spirit of Africa. It is more than a clever slogan. It is the driving force that touches every aspect of Ethiopian Airlines. Modern fleet, stringent maintenance standards, and responsive customer service are the hallmarks of Ethiopian Airlines today.
And we would like to thank Mr. Emeka and Mrs. Azine Ezanagu, Without them, the lights would be out in the studio, and we would not be here today. So much love to the Ezinagu family. Thank you.
Yes, and we know what happens when the lights go off.
That's right.
You can't be seen.
That's right. You're only going to see me when I smile.
If you are listening to us for the very first time, thank you so much. If you are a regular listener, thank you so much. And if you're streaming, thank you and welcome. At this time, we want to ask you to do us a favor. Get on your Twitter, get on your Instagram, email, text. Tell your friends about us. We are here for the next 2 hours. The African Focus Show is all about the African family. It's about food. It's about music. It's about fashion, entertainment, travel, and all about love.
Lot of love.
This show covers the shores of America, the continent of Africa, and the Caribbean, all about bringing us together, and we are one people. We have a very exciting, fun-filled show for you today. Our focus is going to be on, guys, Senegal, right?
That's
Yay.
right. Yeah.
And we are going to give you numerous reasons why you should visit Senegal. We believe that you should live your life to the fullest, travel, live, enjoy, and this beautiful country. We're even going to show you a little bit of a video to this beautiful country. And later on, we'll have in studio the 215 families that are going to be inducted and the families that are going to be supporting them, adopting them. And we will bring you more about the Goodwill Awards right now.
Okay, well, do not forget to get your tickets this for Saturday, April 25th, 2015, to the 12th Annual African Focus Goodwill Awards and African Family Induction Ceremony. They are going to be held at the Concourse Hotel, LAX, which is at 6225 Century Boulevard, Los Angeles, California, and that is formerly the Radisson Hotel, LAX. The tickets are available online at www.africanfocus.org. And do not wait until the last minute. As we keep telling you, this event is always sold out. And you know what? You'll be sitting in the lobby with some popcorn like a spectator watching the show pass you by because you can't get tickets at the door.
And you don't want to do that.
You definitely don't, because you know what? It's going to be popping up in there. I'm just saying.
That's right. That's right. Remember what I've always said every week. I try to remind you. You know what it is.
If you snooze, you lose.
And trust me, this year is very, very ambitious. We have an ambitious program for you this year. So you don't want, this is not the year you want to snooze, because you're going to lose big time. I said it last week. I'm about to repeat again. Please don't wait. African Goodwill Awards and Induction Ceremony ticket is the hardest ticket event in town. This has been the best African event in California, where culture meets glamour. The competition has gotten so hot over the years that it was just a matter of time that the issue has to be settled, and Asanwa Entertainment Step Out in Glamour is absolutely going to help settle the score. The best dressed couple, single men and ladies will win different prizes, including cash gift cards and other items sponsored by California Natural Food and MoneyGram International. Speaking about MoneyGram, our very own brother, my brother, a gentleman I've known for about almost 30 years, Hughes Efole, the Vice President of the Regional Sales, I believe will be the co-host of the African Focus Show this year.
Angela, we can't let Adi win.
Oh, no, definitely.
Because, you know, we can't let him in the competition.
No, we cannot.
If he goes in, he's going to win.
Ladies,
he always, he comes every week.
Ladies, this is hands down. We'll have the audience vote. This is going to be hands down. This competition is mine. I won it already.
They may as well give him the card,
They
right?
may as well give it to me.
Wait, no, I went to go get my gown, measured.
Oh,
I think when you think about one of those pearl gowns like Lupita had.
That'd be hot.
That maybe, I don't know. know.
That would be hot.
I'm gonna surprise you guys. I'm trying to get that award too.
Don't worry, they're gonna steal it like they stole Lupita's gown.
And then return it when they realize it wasn't real
She
pearl.
had pearls on her gown. I have gold on mine. So,
There you go.
I'm just saying.
Original.
Okay, well, on a program note, next week our topic is going to be everybody has a story. What's yours? And the show's going to focus on the lives of each of our guests, their life story, their upbringing, and their inspiration for giving back when others look the other way. We're going to have the renowned Dr. Matthias Phobie, who's one of our patrons. He's going to be on the show. We will also have Mrs. Helen Phobie, who's an African Focus Advisory Board member, and also Dr. Phobie's lovely wife. We will have, Mr. Mika and Mrs. Ezine Ezinagu on the show. They're our board members and also our African Focus show sponsors. And the Ezinagus, they sowed the seed to make sure that we have this radio show today, and we are forever thankful for them. Also joining us next week will be Mrs. Laura Akanubi, African Focus Inc. Advisory Board member, and also Mrs. Princess Comfort Agbunamiri, our Executive Board member, and also Vice President of the African Focus Cultural Affairs. She has been with our organization for over 11 years and counting, and we want to say much love to her and all of our other guests for next week. So, fast forward, we're also going to talk a little bit about the African Focus induction, where the Africans and African Americans in the diaspora are going to be reuniting and reestablishing the family ties. And I'm telling you, the dreams and hopes of the ancestors are coming to life. And right here in the 21st century, we are in a position really to make sure that the reunification with Africa and her children happens. So,
all right, that's right.
Okay, and on that program, we will be talking to our inductees about their experience and what it means to them to be inducted. As Martin Luther King once said, we have to uplift ourselves, and that means we have to want to be somebody. We have to want to be free and live to the fullest of our God-given abilities. And that includes making sure that the ugly history of slavery doesn't happen again. It also means that we have to work towards rebuilding the African family, without which the continent will continue to be oppressed by both the West and the Eastern countries that continues to loot the vast resources Mother Nature bestowed on Africa. Again, I will steal a quote from Uchenna, our producer, because he summed it up nicely. Why the induction, he said, until we continental Africans rises and acknowledge our brothers and sisters in the diaspora, and recognize that we are one united in blood and in God, Africa will continue to struggle for survival and growth.
That is so true.
The freedom and progress that we have made, we have been made for us to have the dignity, comes with a hefty price. We ought not to take it for granted.
That's true, Adi. That's true.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that. Today in-house, I have a special guest with me, Joshua Hylaton.
That's a new one, but I like that.
You are doing well. You are doing well.
I keep progressing on the names,
That's
but then I blunder.
She got it. That's what got it.
Jerusha
is the newest member of the African Focus family. She's also an inductee into the Yoruba family of Mr. and Mistress Doris, Stephen and Doris. Say that, Addy.
Adeneye. Yes, right.
She was actually with us a few weeks ago on the phone, right?
Yes,
right.
When we presented to you, our listening audience, the Nigerian inductees and their host families. Jerusha is a woman who wears many hats. She's also working on bringing the African family induction into Las Vegas, Nevada next year.
That's right. Why not?
All right.
Why not?
All right.
And I think that's June, to be precise. We're going to hear some more from her. Jerusha is a native of Las Vegas. She has gained notoriety in the world of fashion and entertainment as a print and runway model, So she's going to get me on the modeling track because I want to do plus size modeling. Right?
It's never too late.
No, it's never too late to be what you could have been. I believe in that. Today, she's a role model to millions across the globe with women with vision and ministry. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. I am so honored to be here. I tell you, this is like the Academy Awards, the Golden Globe Awards. I tell everybody when I'm promoting this show that, African focus, the whole thing, even the mission is so exciting to me. And I am so glad to be a part of it. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. We are really excited about the show, and we keep growing and learning, and we hope to be around for a long time.
I believe so.
I want to ask you, how does it feel seeing Americans getting reunited with their African families, being inducted, being welcomed, being taken home? How do you feel about that?
Wow. Well, first of all, I have to say I am honored to be a part of history in the making.
Yes.
This is a historical gathering and rite to passage for African Americans, and I know the thirst and hunger for identity among my African American brothers and sisters. So to spearhead with the president of African Focus Goodwill, Eugenia, and all of you, I'm telling you, this is one of the greatest crowns of glory I can stand in. So thank you.
Oh, wow.
I know, I
That's
said a lot, right?
wonderful.
I'm passionate.
You're passionate about it. Well, that's great. We're supposed to be.
Exactly.
I heard that you are planning on bringing the induction program to Las Vegas. When exactly is that happening? And tell us about that.
Well, first of all, I am honored to be the chair of African Focus Goodwill in Las Vegas. African Focus is now spreading her wings and moving into other places. So I am the Las Vegas chair, and we are going to have it in June, to June 25th on a Saturday. At one of the new hotels, SLS Hotel, used to be formerly the Sahara Hotel. I'm telling you,
Nice.
you step out of your car, baby, it's gonna be like nothing you have ever seen.
Oh, I'm there. I'm there.
Oh, you're gonna love it. You're gonna want to dress up like you never have before. I guarantee you, LA will now shift to Vegas.
Uchenna, she's attacking
right
you.
here.
She's attacking you, eh?
You heard that, right?
Bring it on.
You can never go back, Dorothy, after you go forward.
That's true, They say the mind is like a parachute. Once it's expanded,
Hey, you
can't
gotta
be
keep it
closed
going.
again.
That's right.
Have you ever been to Africa?
Yes, matter of fact, I have been impregnated with the seed of Africa. People are like, what? God impregnated me with Africa many years ago. He released me 5 years ago. So my first release was into South Africa, and I spent 3 months there, and then Kenya for 3 months in the bush. And I'm about to return again in August 25th, speaking to over 2,000 women. So I am moving as the doors open. I have one message. Africa, God has heard your cry.
Okay.
I know I said a lot, right?
You said you were impregnated, and I need to get to that. How?
What does that mean?
When? Yes.
Okay. Well, spiritually impregnated by the seed of the Word of God that impregnated me with the vision and the cry of Africa. I literally, for years, were having labor pains. And I didn't understand that the labor pains and travail that I was going through for the cry of Africa to the day of the birth. And I know this sounds out lavish. Do not put me in a mental hospital, please. Okay? This is real. Read the book.
We have the straight jackets coming.
Oh, baby. They can't hold me down. And so I didn't know until actually the cry came out of me. And the cry was African's cry. I've heard your cry. And that's when I knew there's something amazing was happening in my life. Even pastors didn't understand. But God himself revealed years later, and that this is what I was born to do. And so in that process, I continued to get the revelation, and then doors began to open. So I have put everything else aside. This is my life journey, and this is my mission for life.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Excellent,
So
excellent.
What was the experience like when you got to Africa, considering all the things you had heard over the years? When you got there, how was that experience for you?
Well, amazingly, I thought I was prepared spiritually. I have traveled to Africa in the spirit. So when I got there, it was totally different than South Africa. South Africa was so westernized, I didn't really care that much for it. But Kenya, when I got there, landed, I could not stop crying uncontrollably.
Wow.
And then once I traveled to Bugoma, I think it was like 2 hours away from Nairobi to the bush, I really felt like Dorothy from The Wiz. I felt home. Really. I felt at home, and I began to remember as a child my childhood and my ancestors. And just a lot of memories was restored. Because as you know, the power, you don't have the convenience and stuff we have here. Yes. So it really got me back connected with my ancestors and remember my childhood.
Okay. And you were inducted in 2012?
I haven't been inducted yet.
Oh.
I will be getting, matter of fact, inducted this year, 2015, here in LA.
Yes.
I've just been coming.
Yes. How was that for you when you got the call, when you got the message that you were going to be inducted?
Well, when I received the letter and the beautiful, certificate or whatever, you know what? It was like I know this sounds real lavish, but it's like a born-again experience for me. And it was also a confirmation of the call.
Yes.
And so for me, it just really moved me. I felt like I was moving in the right path and the direction that my steps have been ordered.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
It's my honor.
Well, I'm going to ask you to stay with us because we're going to take a break right now and listen to some good African music.
Right.
And when we come back, we would like you to participate and be part of the conversation.
Thank you.
P-Square. Convict music.
Maybach music.
Oh, yeah. Mama, Neme, what a beautiful onyinye. Bimo. I was feeling so sad because I was all alone. Was so bad. And there she goes. She touched my heart and said, Jebezina knows to go. Hey, was so glad. The way she keeps me smiling, it brings me joy. She proves this loving is real. Within my heart there's nobody else. Baby, give me your hand, let me take you away. Mommy, see the girl I want marry, no time, no delay. After all the things I've been through, I present my love to you. The girl I want marry, the girl I want marry. See the girl I want carry, now the girl I want marry. Oh, Rolando, no move, oh man, what a beautiful lady. So you and I can fly away, straight to the sky. Just you and I. Sing from above when you know you're my Mastercraft on the beat. Let's go. Suck on it. What else? Double. Ready. Bad girl come wine pon the ting. Bad girl come sit down pon the ting. Bad girl come here, give me some beke. Chat, you go kill me, Charlie. Bad girl come here, give me some beke. Chat, you go kill me, Charlie.
I hear my Jana with channel, I mean minimal life. Uncracking when I won't pass up and come with ties. I hit you in the morning, hit you the same in the night. When they was swab a crack, you make you no 10 on the light. 6996, I bet you can love it. Give it to me, make you wake up in Bugatti. Started from the bed, now we here in the lobby. Sometimes you make me wanna tattoo your name on my body. Put it on me, just put it on me, cause I'm loving it. All the things I wanna do, I can only imagine it. It be only me, nobody else is having it. It's me, myself, and dancing floor, you know what time it is. We take it from the floor, all the way to the sofa. You forgive me some more, you know that I'm a soldier. We be breaking the laws, that means I'm gonna hold ya. I know we'll stop until it's over.
Bad girl come wine on the ting. Bad girl come sit down on the ting. Bad girl come here, give me some
Focus Show.
Welcome back to the African Focus Show. You are listening to the best African Focus Show in Los Angeles. We have a packed house with us today. If you are listening for the first time or if you're a regular listener, please text, tweet, Instagram. Tell your friends that you're here. I'm your host, Nicole Simpson, today, and we have the inductees for the April 25th induction ceremony, our big, amazing gala that we are all very excited about. And Adi keeps telling you, if you snooze, you lose. So we are celebrating today the Senegalese families, and we are going to share what's going on with you.
In the westernmost point of Africa, bordering the Atlantic Ocean, lies an exotic paradise, the beautiful Republic of Senegal. A mere 7-hour flight away from New York and only 8 hours from Atlanta, Senegal boasts unlimited sunshine, diverse landscapes, lively entertainment, arts and culture, rich history, and most enticing, its warm people celebrated for their traditional and legendary hospitality, also known as Teranga. Senegal is a democratic republic with strong political institutions. It is one of the most stable countries on the African continent. Indeed, the international airport Léopold Sédar Senghor is among the busiest in Africa, with international flights arriving and departing daily. You can find reasonably priced accommodations throughout the capital, or indulge yourself at top-star hotels and luxury resorts along the coast. This great country encompasses many breathtaking natural sights, including miles of gorgeous parks and reserves, fascinating birdwatching, and over 700 miles of pristine beaches stretching from the north to the south. You and your whole family can experience a very unique vacation in Senegal, contemporary or traditional, exactly how you want it. You can spend your days in our modern capital city, Dakar, visiting art galleries, museums, and handcrafted art bazaars. Or indulge yourself with the local and international cuisine in quaint French-styled cafes and 5-star restaurants all over the city. If you're looking to party, there are festivals held several times a year, such as the Saint Louis Jazz Festival, World Festival of Black Arts, and Dakart, to name just a few. A vibrant nightlife awaits you in Senegal, where you'll be surprised to see a hip, chic crowd at any location. If education is important to you, you are invited to explore the historic colonial homes and adventure on a ferryboat ride to the island of Gorée, where thousands of Africans were transported to before becoming enslaved in the New World. A significant monument of the past, the famous House of Slaves will definitely plunge visitors into a moment of deeply stirred emotions.
Okay, that's the first part of the 2-part series on Senegal, what you are going to see when you are in Senegal. On the second half, we're going to play you the second half of that video. And now, without much further ado, please help me in welcoming Mam Mbaye to the studio. Please give her a round of applause, please. Mom already lost her voice before she got here, so please bear with her. But let me tell you something briefly about this wonderful, wonderful, tall, beautiful, dark-skinned African woman sitting right next to me, a lady I love to refer to as my sister. Oh, when Mom cooked, you've never tasted anything like it before. Ma'am can cook. I'm telling you. Ma'am attended the University of Dakar in Senegal with a Bachelor's of Arts in American Literature and Linguistics. Remember, what did I just said? In American Literature and Linguistics. From University of Senegal in Dakar. She has held prominent roles in various non-profit organizations, Vice President of Senegalese Association in Los Angeles. She was Vice President of African Focus Incorporated, overseeing the Goodwill Award Program. She has volunteered and collaborated with others such as UCLA African Studies, UCLA Fowler Museum, and the ILM Foundation for Humanitarian activities. Please, one more time. Let's hear it from Ma'am Mbaye.
Yeah. All right. Okay, and also we have Amélie Mbaye is on the phone with us. She is known as Mimi in Dakar, Senegal, that is, and she studied in France. She was a veteran flight attendant for over 15 years, and she's also a television announcer and also a host of many shows there in Senegal. She's an actress, she's a singer, she's been featured in many commercials both here in Los Angeles and also in Senegal, and she's also performed with the West Angeles Mass Choir right here and recorded her own CD. Her CD, which is called Confidence, is a compilation of Christian songs in different languages: French, English, Spanish, Portuguese, and of course her maternal language, Wolof, which showcases all of her talent. So, we also have today, along with our host family, some of our newest inductees into the Senegalese family. We have Mr. Alvin Vincent Grimes, who's joining us on the phone. Mr. Grimes, say hello.
Hello, how are you?
Okay, so Mr. Grimes is a musician, writer, actor, poet, and teacher. Alvin was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. He married Yvonne Grimes, and he's been married to her for 14 years. Give it up for 14 years, guys. Come on, Every year is a great year. He also considers himself a diehard Pan-Africanist, and he would like to one day either relocate to Senegal and teach adult literacy and writing in his golden years. So, Mr. Grimes, again, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Angela.
Yes.
Nicole.
Yes, sir.
Are you there, my dear?
Yes, there.
Who is Yvonne Grimes? And which country is she going to be inducted to? If you guess Nigeria and you guess fufu and okra soup, then you guess right. And let's not forget, my grandfather, his great-grandfather used to drink palm wine. And you are being inducted to the country of palm wine.
Well, I definitely want some palm wine, and I know one thing, that Mrs. Grimes was certainly a guest on our show last year. I mean, not last year, no, last week. Last week. See, I'm already thinking about that palm wine.
That was last week. Remember now, fufu and okra soup goes well with palm wine. Don't forget that.
Wait a minute, Adi. I have heard so much about this palm wine. Why don't you just give it to us freely and stop making us suffer?
I know. Why do we have to work for it, Ade?
When you go to the Yoruba region, palm wine is vitally free. They offer you palm wine.
Okay, I think I have the right answer. I believe she must have been inducted in Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon, one of those. Am I right?
Yes, you are right.
I can tell you.
So I get palm wine?
That's right. Remember now, that alone does not win you a prize.
Oh, wow. I think we can't put up with this anymore. This is not right.
No, that doesn't count. I will tell you. And keep my prize. She's going to be inducted into Ghana family. If you guess Nigeria, you are wrong.
I said Ghana.
Oh, you did say Ghana.
Yes.
Okay, you are.
Palm wine for me. Palm wine for me.
For me too.
I'll share with you.
Remember now, you can be inducted into one family and your spouse can be inducted into an entirely different family or region of Africa, this is equally great. It just reflects who we are. Now you have a Senegalese marrying a Ghanaian. He smiled.
Okay, so
that means he's still with us on the line.
What?
I heard that smile.
Okay, so it is. I know it's difficult. We've also got some of our other inductees on the show. Is Eve with us today?
Yes.
In studio with us, it's also Miriam Watson Ferguson, a self-described ambassador for peace and understanding. A goal she accomplished through community service, the preservation of the African culture in America, and compassion that has earned her the title of Godmother of African American Artists. Miss Ferguson devoted her professional career to young people with stints as a California Youth Authority counselor, a group home drug counselor, and a mediator in the Superior Court's Family Law Department. She's the recipient of the Sankofa Award for Community Service.
No, let's say that right. Sankofa. Sankofa. There you go.
She's a recipient of the Sankofa Award
there you go.
of the Community Service presented by the Coalition of Mental Health Professionals and is listed in Who is Who in California and in Black America. Miriam Ferguson takes great pride in her African roots and honors that heritage by wearing African attire. As we can see, she's just gorgeous. Her travels have taken her home to Senegal, Gambia, Nigeria, the Ivory Coast, and Togo.
Okay, yeah, that's it for her. Let me start by asking my continental African families, what is your inspiration for becoming a host family? I ask this because you have joined the league of few families who have given the African Americans and others in the diaspora a historic opportunity to become members of your family. And I'll start with you, ma'am. Since Mimi is supposed to... Oh, Mimi is on the phone. Okay, let's start with Mimi, who is on...
Yes,
Mimi,
I'm on the phone, yes.
Yes,
and
my
I'm so
dear.
sorry, guys, for not being able to be at the show. I'm in Vegas, celebrating the birthday of my son, who is turning 18 years old.
Oh, good for you.
Please join me to say happy birthday to my baby.
Yes.
Please, happy birthday to you, young man.
Tell him we said happy birthday from the African Focus family.
No.
Yeah, thank you so very much. And I'm going to be with you on the phone. I hope that my sister also, who lost her voice, Mom, is with you. So I'm going to be talking on her behalf. But
that's
really,
okay.
I'm so happy to be with you guys.
She'll manage. The question to you, Mimi, is why did you choose to open your home for African Americans and others in the diaspora to become members of your family?
Well, first of all, I really would like to talk about our tradition, our families, our culture to people like my brothers that we're going to invite for the ceremony to be with us. Because really, every time when we talk about Africa, it's what? The lions, the zebra, the forest, jungle. They know nothing about Africa, the real culture, the food, the colors, the families, and everything. So this ceremony will be so very important, not only for our inductees, but also for everybody we know. That's why we have to talk about that, invite people, let them know what is African Focus about.
Thank you. Well said. Ma'am, since you're here close to me, same question goes to you. I know they can hear you. We already warned them that you lost a little bit part of your voice. So, ma'am, the same question goes to you. Why did you choose to open your door to Americans, our brothers and sisters in the diaspora, to become part of your large African family?
Well, first of all, I wanted to say that I grew up in a very large family myself, of 13 kids.
Ooh.
And I grew up having my father welcome everyone. I mean, suddenly we just see somebody walk into the door and then join us for dinner or stay in the home for a little bit if they don't have room. My father was the ambassador of in Senegal. I mean, they used to call him the ambulance of the area because every woman has given birth into his car. And so I grew up. I mean, every morning we wake up, he's hosing the car. What did you do, Daddy? Again, you took a lady deliver at the hospital. You don't even know him. They don't even know him. He doesn't know anybody, and it's just kind of like welcome everybody to their house, to our house. So that's the foundation I got. And then coming to this country, I've been living for 25 years, and then I've been always the ambassador of my country here. And again, as I was in the university also, I was a tourist guide for the African American at the Gorée Island. That's what I did because I specialize in American civilization. So my internship in SOCORT was just to take Americans to Gorée Island and walk them through it, and then as a tourist guide. I've been doing it for all my 4 years of college there. So when I came here, I wanted to continue it. And then I never will stop because I started with UCLA Fowler Museum, and then UCLA African Studies. I subbed there for Wolof teaching as well for my friend. And then from there also, I just was looking for everywhere I could belong to, I can go to and volunteer. And then just, welcome and hug and, have a large family, So it's just a natural thing for me. So I will do it all the time, and I will keep doing it because this is what I was born to do. And this is why I chose to come to the U.S. We're a French-speaking country, but I never wanted to go to Europe because French is not my thing. I always was passionate to use English. So I said to myself when I was little, I want to go to the U.S., and I did. Well. And when I came here, I continued it. And at the same time here, I was, like you mentioned earlier, the vice president of the African Focus.
Yes.
And then, the vice president of a Senegalese association, the vice president of the Family Bridge Foundation that me and my friend invited me to join because she saw how much I've devoted to just, expand the Senegalese family. So this is that's my goal. And to make sure every African American knows that Senegal is wide open from the Gorée Island to here.
This is what I picked up from everything she just said. This is a woman that has a first-hand experience with Gorée Island. Yeah. She can actually take her inductees through the journey where they go through the door of no return. Right. She's been there several times, so you guys are going to be at home with the Mbaye family when you go to Senegal. And there's a lot to see in Senegal.
Absolutely. Well,
and everybody is welcome. Everybody will be welcome to our good table.
I just even want to mention one little thing. So, also, I worked as helping investors because I was always doing the being the tourist guide. I had people coming back to Senegal because they wanted to do something over there. I used to translate their documents. I used to help them go to do their business transaction while I was doing the tourist guide. I did it for 4 years. So you guys, you should be excited because, I'm going to start here and continue.
Put me on the list. I'm going to go. We talked about that.
That is wonderful. I see you picked that up from your dad.
Yes.
When we come back, we're going to pick up this conversation and keep talking. We're going to take a break right now and listen to some African music.
Check out your my wallet, what day? Me love you very long. Pass me your love like a ping pong. Cause you ring my bell like a ding dong. Oh, cause this love, and no go trouble no one. I know the feeling is strong, but you is a bandit. Never love another life. Go tell my friends them that he would die for me. Go tell my mama, go tell my papa that he would die for me. Go tell my friends them that he would die for me. Go tell my mama, go tell my papa that he would die for me.
For so long I've been waiting, waiting for your love and your body, come take up the money, pretty baby, I'm a honey, we love you for a very long time. You love me when I get a dime, you won't give me you this, you give me that. Me girl so real, she not a copycat. Baby, why it like that? Me love it when you giving me like that. Boom, you are a blessing. You came into my life, no more stressing. Say the smart when your face seems impressing. Everything around you seems interesting. Don't let me for so long, you know. Whatever. Put you anywhere you want. Put you everything you need to know. Whatever. You that I love you so. Yeah, for so long I've been waiting. Waiting for your love and your body. Come take me to
I know, boy. Anyway, Tom got the rhyme with corner. Will you come with me to my corner? I won't give you hard drive format. May was Senebe 5 on that. Nice chick, may a chroma. Maybe do nice flick with my Kodak. Freeze, baby cheese. Oh gosh, she body, maybe boom to say kunka. By the way, flow simple, vida. Cause I the kai say me share our revival. But no many more me than team and try that. And then, say my chill, our viber. Swine, you better sabe 6 hours. Now me be a my crash over 20 hours. I know you then chain hallmark. I grown kwa makasa but all because of hunger. Oh hunger because of hunger. Hey, hunger, oh hunger because of hunger. Hunger because of Shemino. Nice couple. We see castle heading to the tri-castle. What? Oh boy until we can't cuddle. Just say Osha Calvin Klein, Mesha Whitechapel. Sa, Mate. Mean to me back and Mesha. We didn't quite send me back. It was set, BBT, wappy. Yes, say you fact on the track. Me you slow or you fast on a 1 minute pack, wappy. Anybody say bull fruit. Maybe boom after all. YOLO, oh my god, sack. Look at her, but busy. Hunger because of hunger. Hey, hunger.
Against the law, sexy girl. Let's take a selfie, girl.
Strong, Samson with a smartphone. Let's go. No, the Delilah, fresh, Rasta, straight on the gym to the shower. Back in the hour with the power, feeling so sexy. Took a selfie, old school, pull up, you know me, smell me, 6 feet from a mile away. Round
Focus, African Focus Show.
Welcome back to the African Focus Show. We're coming to you live from our LA studios, and I hope you're enjoying the conversation. We're talking to the inductees and the host families that will be inducted in the Goodwill Awards this coming April 25th. Today, we have some of the families in studio with us. We have some of them on the phone. And I would like to ask the host families this question. Do you have any advice for other African families to become induction host families? And I'm going to start with you, ma'am.
Well, before I answer your question, I just wanted to add a little comment to what Ade just said.
Okay.
About we need to get rid of this barrier between us. Actually, I lived it because I took a class of African American Studies here.
Yes.
You know, and I had a teacher. He was teaching us. He was white. First of all, I thought it was very awkward because you cannot teach me as a white person my history. I came in and he was telling everybody, showing a video that, as a matter of fact, African was selling these Africans because they just wanted for little dirt cheap whatever. And I just raised my hand. I say, you know what? Says who? Says you or says the history? Because what you're saying is totally wrong. Everybody was getting excited and angry. And I just said, you know what? I have to fix this. I said, this is not right and this is not right. I am from Africa and I know what happened. You know, and I told, to tell the story short, I just cleared it to everybody. And I say, you know what? You guys wake up and smell the coffee. This guy is white and he's teaching you wrong. That's right. He doesn't know what is happening. So, and I say, you know what? I quit. I'm not coming to your class anymore because you're giving the wrong information.
Oh, that's right.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's taking a stand.
Encouraging every other host family, I'm encouraging everyone actually from Africa to embrace every African American because you know what? We're taking you back.
Yes.
That's right.
That's what we need. We're taking you back because you belong to us. Yes. You know, this is a long lost children. We're collecting every single one of them in every single corner of this country. And we're gonna get to a point that Uchenna and African Focus is gonna gather every single person lost in this country.
Uchenna, you have your work cut out for you.
That's right. Same spirit.
I can tell you one thing though. We have progressed. African Focus is going to Las Vegas next. Yeah. When we started 12 years ago, I never dreamt of this getting beyond the shores of Los Angeles. We're moving slowly. We're moving to Las Vegas. Another county, another state is going to join us for the next one. I know that because we're on the right path.
Yes.
We're doing the right thing.
Yes.
We've come a long way. This has been long overdue. And talk about long overdue. I remember we inducted Jim Brown. I can't remember what year, but Jim Brown was
2010.
2010 it was? Okay, I thought it was much longer than that. 2009, there you go. 2009. We inducted Jim Brown 2009. And this brother here, Akila, please tell me, you have come a long way. I remember when American started, it was to get rid of the gangs, or at least tell the brothers the gang is not the right way. Some of them listened. The ones that listened went the right way. The ones that did not went 180 degrees. They probably still serving times. A lot of brothers in jail. People don't know we have local gangs in Africa. You think you can make any difference when you go over there? Having experienced this firsthand in America, and would that be able to translate when you go to Senegal? And let's try to seek the brothers out. The gang way is not the right way.
Yes, sir.
That's not the African thing, anyways.
Yes, my belief is that the label gang in itself is a dehumanizing label. And it was created not by us, who grew up in these neighborhoods that are disenfranchised and that have been just poverty-stricken. Because truly, the root cause of gang violence is greed, which is, really disenfranchised our community and destabilized our neighborhoods. Gangs initially started as a way of protecting the neighborhood. They grew out of the Black Panther Party movement to protect the neighborhood from, groups like in Watts, like the Spook Hunters, and law enforcement who preyed on the community because just because we were black. So my belief is that the label gang in itself is a dehumanizing term. It's synonymous with insurgent. It was created so that it could make it almost okay so that you can kill young black men and young black women in this country with impunity. Yes. And so the creation of American and the movement that we launched around stopping the killing in the neighborhood was community driven. It grew out of us recognizing and witnessing the violence that was being perpetrated against us in the neighborhood, and that we had to do something and save our own lives because no one was going to come to the neighborhood and save us. So, the movement was highly successful over a period. I mean, it's been 20 years, a little over 20 years since the peace treaty we organized in 1992. Our anniversary is coming up on April the 28th of next month. But as a direct result of our work, LA has experienced 10 consecutive years in a row of decreases in violent crime and murder. And I directly associate that success with those interventionists, with those folks who are a part of the peace movement in the neighborhoods to stop the killing. And, and law enforcement played a small role. I mean, the first line of any public safety effort always starts with, the community itself. I think that we've learned a lot, over the past 20 years, and I think we have a lot to share, with our brothers and sisters in Africa. I've been fortunate to travel to South Africa and meet with Captain Zet and some of the brothers in Philippi Township, not Joburg, but in the capital city. Yes. And to talk with them about, the violence that happens in the community. And it's a similar experience. I mean, the root cause of the violence is, the sexual, physical, and psychological abuse that we all suffer through. And, it goes unaddressed because we live in a society that still doesn't see, black folks as human. And so being able to kind of share that kind of macro conception, with our brothers there, and offer some of the things that were offered through us through like our mentor relationship with Jim Brown. The life skills curriculum that we developed was basically a short course in human development that taught individuals how to make better decisions, how to deal with your emotions, how to deal with your family, how to manage your finance, how to develop a relationship with finance. Because I think that without that type of knowledge, it makes it difficult to be able to navigate, the systemic racism and white supremacy, which is alive and well in the world.
Okay.
So
Thank you so very much, and I am sure that would be so useful when we get there. Right now, we're going to listen to some foot stomping music, and we'll be right back to you.
African Focus Show.
Cause you want my love, she no want designer, she no want Ferrari. She said I'm my lover. You belong to me and I belong to her. Oh baby, you go kill somebody. They say love is blind, but I did see her for your eyes, for your eyes, She for past that ego, she did you like Ronaldo, my city Porero, Eminado. She like my song, her favorite that is not Davido. And I like what I see, baby girl, just come balance on me, hey. Cause nobody can love you like I do, nobody can touch you like I do, nobody can love you like I do, nobody can touch you like I do. Cause you want my love, Every time I look into your eyes, your beauty make me smile. Every time I look into your eyes, your beauty make me shine. But no one Latin, no, baby. For you, only money, oh, baby. I go love you past my mama, past my baba. I go love you past my okulu, past my sister, oh. Baby, oh, baby, oh, baby, oh, baby, oh, she be my African baby, oh, she be my African sweetie, oh, baby, bombastic. So wind up, mama, nobody, only we gon' make you feel this way, nobody.
African Focus. African Focus Show.
Welcome back to the African Focus Show. We are coming to you live. Let me hear it from you guys. Are you having a good time? Well, we know Artie can't sing, but we see that he can dance.
Baby.
Okay, so we know you can dress. We know you can dance. We know 50-year-olds need not apply.
No.
That's another show.
And anyone that needs to apply, there's one requirement. She needs to know how to dance. No, don't worry about cook.
Oh.
She just needs to know how to dance. That's all I ask.
Okay.
If you've been watching American Idol, Adana Duru made it to the final 10. Please, I'm begging you. Please, let's vote for Adana Duru. The next show, I believe, it's either Wednesday or Thursday. What day is it? What night?
It's Wednesday
night.
Thursdays, I believe.
Wednesday night and Thursday night. Please, vote Adana Duru. And I've been telling you about this program coming up. Fatoumata Diawara, the new queen of Malian music, is coming to Pomona College. That's April the 2nd. Please Google Pomona College. You'll find the information, or go to your Facebook, their Facebook page. All the information is there. Pomona College, April the 2nd. Fatoumata Diawara. That's a show you don't want to miss if you have the opportunity to be in LA. Melly Mello, 1061 South Fairfax. Mimi is having a show. The address is 1061 South Fairfax, and that's March the 28th. And you don't want to forget that. Special Independence Day celebration for Senegal in Los Angeles, the Townhouse Celebration Ballroom, to 969 Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles. And before I conclude my report, the date is April the 4th, and it starts from 7 p.m. To 1 a.m. Let me see if that for ticket information, you can call 310-467-2110. There's something I heard that I need to put Mom on the spot. I heard you are applying to be the honorary consul general for Senegal in Los Angeles. Is that true or not?
Wow.
Please, let's hear it. Let's hear it from Mom. Mom is applying to become the honorary consul general for Senegal in Los Angeles.
Wow.
Well, tell me that's true. Tell me that's true.
Yes, it is.
It is true. There you go.
I've been living in this country for 25 years, and I've been approached several times from African Americans to Senegalese people to other Africans who want to visit Senegal. We have tremendous difficulties to have paperwork together and stuff. So I find it my duty, to just make sure somebody is represented and helped here. This is this is why I apply. I sent my application like a year ago to the ambassador in Senegal in Washington D.C. and then just say that tell them that this is a big need here. That people are lost, people find it difficult. People who are interested in Senegal, people like you who want to apply for visas, because now Senegal requires a visa to go to Senegal, and then people don't know where to go. So this is why I applied, and then now it's actually being processed.
Okay.
Now I found an office. It's going to be in Wilshire. On
oh, she has an office already.
Yeah.
Well, that's a woman that walks out.
That's where the embassies are.
That's right. The embassies roll.
Definitely. And I'm going to include a lot of different programs like cooking classes.
I'm sure.
Cooking classes, cultural events. Chamber of Commerce of Senegal in West Africa. I'm planning to do that. A Chamber of Commerce.
That's
right.
Very nice. Very nice.
I have to get you an office warming gift.
Very nice.
That's right.
Before you go on, I have a question for you. You told us about all these events.
Okay.
Is there going to be palm wine there?
Oh boy!
Just to talk about palm wine.
Do you know what I'm gonna?
I've got to taste
do you know what I'm
I've
gonna?
heard so much about it.
On that
Do
palm
you know
wine.
what I'm gonna do? Do you know what I'm gonna do next
What are you
week,
gonna
Nicole?
do, darling?
I'm gonna bring you a bottle of palm wine.
Yay! What about me? I'll see.
I will share. I'll share with you.
I'll bring you a bottle of palm wine next week.
Yes.
When you see me next week, ask for a bottle of palm wine.
Palm wine.
This is
palm wine.
This is what I call.
Ade, my brother Ade.
Yes, Mimi.
Yeah, just to add to what you said about my next event coming on March 28th, this Saturday,
March 28th.
It's not going to be palm wine, but we will have some exotic Senegalese drinks.
There you go.
Okay. Not the music only, the dance and everything, and also, of course, the food of my sister.
Okay.
My sister, Mom. And it's going to start not please African time, no, but 10 p.m. American time until 3 a.m. And it's going to be at 1061 Fairfax Avenue at the Little Ethiopia. And I would like to add that I will host also on April 4th our Senegalese Independence Day. It's going to be, we will give you the address, it's going to be at Wilshire. I will host the entire program. It's going to be food, Senegalese dance, drums. It's going to be very exciting. On April 4th. So
Very
all
good.
those upcoming African events coming soon.
Thank you. Thank you, Mimi.
Thanks, Mimi.
This is what I consider our mission statement. The African Focus Incorporated believes that hosting a program such as the African Family Induction will encourage dialogue and interaction between continental Africans and their cousins in the diaspora. What do you think? The organization also argues that tremendous progress can be made if the destruction of African family and lives that occurred due to slavery were to be addressed. It will start with Africans living in the continent of Africa, taking a sincere and honest step to acknowledge as well as work towards restoring the stolen dignity of their brothers and sisters in the diaspora. African Focus Inc. argues further that this can be accomplished by providing Africans in the diaspora an opportunity to share the African destiny, which includes access to economic activities, teaching African American history in African colleges, providing diaspora unconditional citizenship, and more importantly, restore family ties that promote culture and social acceptance. And let me quickly add, there's something called African residualism. You guys have heard me mention that a few times. I can never forget that, because they try to take so much away from us. Guess what they were unable to take away from us? The African in us.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
They will never take that away.
Yeah.
Adi, why don't we thank our sponsors while you're at it?
Yes, one more time. Let's thank our sponsors. We would like to thank all our sponsors again: Ethiopian Airlines, Eric Airlines, MoneyGram, and Quality of Life Incorporated. Also, most importantly, let's thank this gentleman, Uchenna Nwogu, founder of African Focus Incorporated and executive producer for the show, because without him, none of this will be possible. Please, help me. Put your hands together. Uchenna Nwogu.
And we also would like to continue to show our love to our special sponsor, couple that makes it possible for us to pay our light bills here. Mr. Emeka and Ms. Ezine Ezenagu, CEO and founder of Quality of Life, Inc.
A major thank you to Johnny Morris and RMC Studios. Shout outs to our loyal listeners for tuning in faithfully to the African Focus Show. If this is your serendipity means you just discover a means of enjoyment. If we are your serendipity, you have missed 3 months of solid focus on Africa and the African in the diaspora. Let me continue by also telling you to our loyal listeners for tuning in faithfully to the African Focus Show, where it is our focus to promote growth and well-being of Africans all around the world through knowledge and appreciation of one another, as well as building a bridge of love and understanding with all people. Let me also thank our co-producer, Norma. Norma is in the house. Let's give Norma a round of applause, please.
Well, thank you, Mr. Artie. You know, it's getting close to that time where we have to say goodbye to our viewers and our listeners. We hope you had a full, enjoyable 2 hours of us discussing Senegal and what happens when we get there. And these people in the studio are funny, you all. So right now I want to go around the room, and on the phone, I think I want to start on the phone first and just say a quick goodbye to our listeners and our viewers. Mimi?
Yes, my dear.
Just say a quick goodbye to our listeners and our viewers.
Thank you so much, everybody. Like I said, I'm so sorry for not being able to be physically there with you. I will just do my dance over there if I was. But, you know, I'm doing it here by myself in Vegas. And I hope to see you very soon. I'm inviting everybody to this big youth ceremony, African Focus, on April 25th. And also, like I said earlier, on March 28th, my own event on next Saturday. Thank you so much for being here to listen.
And thank you for listening to us, and thank you for staying on the phone for the show. Alvin?
Hello.
Can you say a quick goodbye to the listeners?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for including me, and I'm looking forward to meeting all of you face to face.
Yeah, that's what the African Focus is about, inclusion. Miss Beautiful.
Well, I just want to say thank you, everybody, for listening again, and we're looking forward to meeting you all, too, and we're looking forward to next week. Have a fabulous week. From me to you.
Thank you. I've said it all.
Yeah,
keep listening.
He's danced, he's sung, he's done everything.
I've done my best. Now you stay out there, stay out of trouble, do your best.
The beautiful man.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you for having me here, and thank you for giving me the privilege to, to be the host family. And then from this day on forward, I promise we're gonna build the bridge between the families.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for the opportunity to be here with African Focus. And I'm so honored to be an inductee, and hope that folks are having a wonderful weekend.
That's right.
Thank you. Miss Norma, our co-producer. Say bye to the people.
There you go.
Charush.
Well,
I have butchered your name the whole show.
It's okay, Jerusha. First, I want to thank you. I am so honored to even be in the studio with so many greats I've got reconnected with from last year. So again, I do feel very privileged to be not only a part, but a branch of African Focus Goodwill. And for the listeners, I want to encourage you to be a part of this rite to passage and this great, mighty movement of God and historical event. Join us.
Miss Miriam.
I'd like to just tell you all how wonderful it was to go on this travel log all around Africa today with all of you. And we're excited, and we're expecting to see you on April 25th, 2015 at the great event.
Yes.
Tell all your friends and family, come and support this wonderful bridge over Happy Waters.
Get your tickets.
And yes, and when you go to our Facebook and our Twitter and stuff, can you forward it to your friends and remind them that April 25th is the Goodwill Awards show. It's our biggest event of the year. We're psyched, we're excited, and we want to thank you for coming back every week. Tell your friends we will be here. We wish you health. We wish you abundance. We wish you wealth. We wish you love. The African Focus family is about love. Have a great week. God bless.
African Focus. African Focus Show.
Too tight, yeah. You're ready, I'm ready.
She wanna chop my pee, do I look like square? I mean, do you really care? Cause what's yours you keep, you don't really share. I see how you moving there. You better just stay in line. All I wanna do is just make you mine. You make my heart beat like playing rhyme. Now you wanna leave and say goodbye. African lady, you know say you drive me crazy. I can't let you do me shady. The things that mama know.
Tina, 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 Tina. When Haiti hook up with who? With Africa. Shut up. Easy, ain't no need for no rocket launcher. Too many ladies up in here want a signature. Under a spell, this feels like jail. But tell my lawyer I don't wanna make bail. I come last, then she come first. Big Gregory Isaac was here. He'd say night nurse. Caught up in the middle of the night time. Even though it's wrong, but it feel like the right time. 316 degrees, she got me caught up in African wine. Caught up in the middle of the night time. Even though it's wrong, but it feel like the right time.
African Focus. African Focus Show.
And I come here tonight and plead with you. Believe in yourself and believe that you're somebody. As I said to a group last night, nobody else can do this for us. No document can do this for us. No Lincolnian Emancipation Proclamation can do this for us. No Kennysonian or Johnsonian Civil Rights Bill can do this for us. If the Negro is to be free, he must move down into the inner resources of his own soul and sign with a pen and ink of self-assertive manhood his own Emancipation Proclamation. Don't let anybody take your manhood. Be proud of our heritage. As somebody said earlier tonight, we don't have anything to be ashamed of. Somebody told a lie one day. They couched it in language. They made everything black, ugly, and evil. Look in your dictionary and see the synonyms of the word black. There's always something degrading and low and sinister. Look at the word white. It's always something pure, high, and clean. But I want to get the language right tonight. I want to get the language so right that everybody here will cry out, yes, I'm black, I'm proud of it, I'm black and beautiful.
Personally, I rock your body. I promise you go home, you want a daddy. I give it to you like you never had it. Screaming church, like speaking Chinese. Now waiting me this, back a boom boom. Now waiting I see Zaga. She know one me, she talks so she know one me. I know go lie, the things within my mind. When I see you dancing, girl, you got me high. And if you wanna try, begin good day tonight. Cause I'm in the mood, as long as you feeling the good, I deal with you. Personally, I go deal with you. Personally, I go deal with you. I go deal with you. Personally, professionally, I see what you're doing intentionally. Get me want it physically, so give it to me radically. Emotionally, psychologically, you're turning me on biologically, sexually, dramatically. And she talks, says she know what I know lie, the things within my mind. When I see you dancing, girl, you got me high. And if you wanna try, begin good day tonight. Cause I'm in the mood, as long as you're feeling the groove, I go deal with you. personally, 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 I go deal with you personally, personally, I go deal with you. I go deal with you.
Yeah, exceptionally. The reason is spiritually. Money speaking so drastically, magically, internationally. Habatically. Rama, now for dictionary. Saga, but she know one me. She talks, say she know one me.
I know go lie. The things within my mind. When I see you dancing, girl, you got me high. And if you wanna try, baby, go date tonight. Cause I'm in the mood. As long as you feeling the groove, I go deal with you personally, personally, I go deal with you personally, personally, I go deal with you.
Welcome to the African Focus Show. You are listening to the best African Focus Show in Los Angeles, and we are coming to you live from our LA studios. Today we have a fun-filled, informational, exciting show for you. And we are packed. The house is going to be packed, and I have the African Focus team with me, and I'm going to introduce them in a minute. But that music that you were just listening to is from P Squared, and I hope you were enjoying it because we were rocking it in the studio. Today I have the African Focus team with me, and bringing you the beautiful music is Mr. DJ Nice.
DJ Nice.
Woo! DJ Nice in the house.
And we're going to ask him to bring some more music right after we introduce everybody. We have the lovely Miss Angela Gordon with us.
Good afternoon. Always happy to be here. I'm going to get a hand. Okay.
And we have the well-dressed Mr. Addie James.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Producing for us today is Miss Paulina. And we will introduce you to our guests a little bit later, but we are going to go to some music right now, and we'll be right back with you.
Cause you want my love.
for your eyes, for your eyes, They say love is blind, but I didn't see it for your eyes, for your eyes, The baddest, baby girl, you the baddest. Oh yeah, shake your assets, make him man no go forget. Emergency, baby you cause emergency, baby you is emergency, baby you my emergency. Oh yeah, dress how and dance, oh yeah, look down and dirty, oh yeah, look down you like dirty, oh yeah, dress how and dance. Cause nobody can love you like I do, nobody can touch you like I do, nobody can love you like I do, nobody can touch you like I do. Cause you want my love, cause you want my love. She no want designer, she no want Ferrari. She said I'm my love. You belong to me and I belong to her. Oh baby, you go kill somebody. They say love is blind, but I did see her for your eyes. For your eyes. They say love is blind, but I did see her for your eyes. It's all about love, baby.
Welcome back to the African Focus Show. We are coming to you live from our Los Angeles studios. I'm Nicole Simpson and I'm your host today. If you're a regular listener, welcome back. We thank you for coming. And if you're with us for the first time, this show is about the African family. It's about music, it's about food, it's about culture, it's about entertainment, news, and travel, all about the African family, from the shores of America to the continent of Africa. Right now, we want to ask you to take a minute and go to your Twitter, your Facebook, your text, your Instagram. Tell your friends that we are on, and tell your friends to tell their friends. We're here every Saturday from 12 noon to 2 p.m. Adi, at this point, we want to recognize our sponsors.
Okay, let's do that. Without them, we will not be here. Without them, you will not be out there listening and or watching us. Let's first of all thank Eric Airlines. Eric Airlines, an experienced first-class Fly Eric Airlines. Let's start all over again. It's easier for you to say.
That's Eric Airlines.
That's
right?
Eric Airlines. Fly Eric Airlines, an experienced first-class hospitality. We also like to thank MoneyGram International for offering the most reliable and inexpensive way to send money to your loved ones in Africa, the Caribbean, as well as here in the United States. We want to say much love and appreciation to them for their continued support. Ethiopian Airlines, the new spirit of Africa. It is more than a clever slogan. It is the driving force that touches every aspect of Ethiopian Airlines. Modern fleet, stringent maintenance standards, and responsive customer service are the hallmarks of Ethiopian Airlines today. And tomorrow, and the day after
that.
There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Adi.
All right, and we would also like to thank Mr. Emeka and Mrs. Ezenagu, because without them, the lights would not be on, and again, you would not be able to see us. So much love to the Ezenagu family. Thank you.
And we know you won't be able to see Paul. Well, actually, I meant Adi.
And Paul.
And Paul. And me.
There you go.
Well, today's show is exciting, uplifting, and inspiring. And here's why. Today we have in studio great achievers, people who have chosen to serve humanity through their work and found it fulfilling and rewarding. They have also used their God-given talents and their blessings from God to make a difference. I know sometimes we feel and we see that, millionaires and multimillionaires and billionaires contributing to major causes. And these people deserve to be recognized because every charity that somebody gives and every person that somebody helps, it's a blessing. But it's very rewarding when people sow the seeds of compassion along the way to help others. When you choose to serve humanity and find that it helps, and you can eke out a living while you're doing it. So stay right where you are. Don't change your dial. Today we have in studio with us Dr. Mathis and Mrs. Helen Phoebe, and many of you know the Phoebes as the patron and advisory board members of our parent company organization, the African Focus Incorporated. Also, we have the couple in studio with us that you hear us talk about every week. We thank them every week for keeping the light on and for keeping us here. And again, as Audie always say, the African Focus Show, the light would be out without them. Mr. and Mrs. Izine and Emeka Azana. Wait a minute. They are sitting right next to me, so I might get a left hand. Okay. But I must explain, I have been working on pronouncing my African names, and Adi usually has to help me out.
Thank you.
So, Adi?
Let's introduce them properly. Mr. Emeka and Ezine Ezenagu, our proud sponsors of this show. Like I always say, without their support, the lights will be out. All you're gonna see is my teeth when I smile, and that will be only when I smile.
And we might need a flashlight.
That's right. It's a big pleasure of mine to introduce this couple. Please, let's give them an African Focus welcome.
We do thank you.
Emeka and Ezine Ezenagu. We do thank you.
We thank the Ezenagu. See,
you got it. You got it. And also we have with us Dr. Matthias and Helen Phoebe.
Yes.
Please give them a round of applause.
Yes.
See, remember, there was an African who said, if you don't have a history, or if you don't have a story to tell, you will not be recognized.
Yes.
Not until you have a story to tell, that's when people begin to recognize you. Dr. Phoebe has a story to tell, that's why we always recognize him. Give him another round of applause.
Well, we're going to let him tell his story today. And we also have Miss Laura. Last name?
Okay. We're going to have Lara Okunubi with us. She's not with us yet.
She'll be joining us.
She was our 2014 African Goodwill Award honoree and member of the African Focus Incorporated Advisory Board. Mrs. Lara Okunubi. She'll be joining us later.
Okay, so before we continue, we need a quick update about the African Focus Incorporated. And today, Miss Angela Gordon, the correspondent for the African Focus Incorporated. Tell us, we're 5 weeks out. It's coming, Angela.
Actually, we're like 4 in a couple of days, really.
Okay,
just to keep it 100 here. So yes, we are officially in countdown mode. The big event is coming. This is like one of the biggest African events of the year, if not the biggest event of the year. The African Goodwill Awards and African Family Induction Ceremony will be taking place on April 25th. That's a Saturday. Mark your calendars. April 25th. 2015 at the Radisson LAX, which is now the Concourse Hotel. There's no other event like it. Don't forget to get your tickets in advance because we will not be selling tickets at the door. You will be standing outside waiting for a platter and waiting to hear the music, and you know what? You'll be there by yourself. So it's sold out every year, so please make sure that you are there and that you get your tickets in advance and tell your friends. If you want tickets, you can go to www.africanfocus.org. Okay. So we look forward to seeing you there.
Thank you. I said it last week. I said it week before. I said it last month. And what was that I said?
If you snooze,
you are going to lose. This time, if you snooze, you're going to lose big time. Because the African Focus Please don't wait. The African Goodwill Award and induction ceremony ticket is the hardest ticket event in town. This has been the best African event in California where culture meets glamour. The competition continues to get harder and harder each day, each week, and each month of the year. And the word on the street right now is that you can't find an African tailor at this point to make your clothes for the event or any other event. They are fully booked until May of next year, not just May this year. And that tells you that the competition is going to be tough. And I said last week, and I will say it again, the only way this will go down is through Asamba Entertainment Group step out in glamour competition at the African Goodwill Award. The best dressed couple, single men, did I say single men?
Yes, because you plan on winning it.
There you go. And ladies will win different prizes, including cash, gift card, and other items sponsored by the California Natural Food and MoneyGram International. Speaking about MoneyGram, our very own Hughes Efole, the Vice President of Regional Sales, I believe, will be the co-host of the African Focus Show. Much love to the brother. The host of the 2015 African Goodwill Award will be no other than Dominique De Prima, host of the Front Page 102.3 FM. 102.3 FM. Dominique is an amazing host, and we're excited to have her in the driver's seat for this event. Congratulations, Miss De Prima.
Okay, well, I'm definitely going to give a shout out to my girl, Dominique De Prima. And as you know, Dominique has been inducted into one of our families in 2013. She was actually inducted into Paul and Angela Babatunde's family. Yeah. So we're real proud of her. Let's give her a thumbs up.
Yes. Give her a round of applause.
Okay, so also on program note, today's topic is going to be a sequel show. So we're talking about Everybody Has a Story and What's Your Story, Part 2. Okay, so we're going to talk about our guests' lives and what inspires them, what their stories are, what their lives have been, and what makes them, so inspired to work with us, to share and help others in society who are less fortunate when other people turn the other shoulder. So fast forward again, we're going to also, back to the show, we're going to be broadcasting live at the African Focus. The whole team here is going to be there. So why don't we we're going to have Tracy, Fancy Tracy, a video of her online today. She's a Nigerian-born fashion model, and she's up and coming. We are going to see a bit about her, and why don't we go to the Fancy Tracy video right now. Okay, that was the video that you just saw was the gorgeous Fancy Tracy, who is an up-and-coming African model. She's gracing the runway here, and she's also going to be a guest here in the studio on April 11th. We're really excited. We want to support her career. We want everybody to know who she is, because she is definitely one to know. So, on that note,
I'm telling you, the African Goodwill Awards is the show to miss. It is where Hollywood meets all the African roots and the culture. What African Focus represents is the message of people like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who said, we have to lift ourselves, and that means we have to want to be somebody. We have to want to be free and live to the fullest of our God-given abilities. And that includes making sure that the ugly history of slavery does not happen again. And more importantly, the pursuit of happiness, as one defines it, African Focus is defining and creating an African event that celebrates us despite the financial challenges of hosting events like the African Focus. The sacrifice that the team makes to do this for the past 12 years without any personal financial consideration can only be done because one believes in the vision. Again, I will steal this particular quote again from Uchenna, our producer, because he summed it up nicely. Why the induction, the award, and the glamorous event like the African Goodwill Awards? He said, until we continental Africans rises and acknowledge our brothers and sisters in the diaspora and recognize that we are one, united in blood and in God, Africa will continue to struggle for the survival and growth, and the pursuit of happiness will become a party of one without meaning and purpose. The freedom and progress that have been made for us to have the dignity comes with a hefty price. We ought not to take it for granted. Remember what I continue to say. Let me remind you, Nicole, let me remind you, African residualism. Don't take a break. Everything they took away from us, there's one thing they will never take away from us, the African in us. We're always going to remain Africans.
You can take the boy out of Africa, but you can't take Africa
out of him.
boy.
There you go. There you go.
Thank you, Adi. Tell you what we're going to do right now. We're going to take a break, but I want to ask DJ Nice, what did you play for us? What was the last piece you played for us? Tell me.
I don't have a microphone. We can hear you. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, tell us what you're going to play for us next.
Flavor, all right.
Okay,
my boy Flavor.
You're going to be listening to Flavor. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll be talking to our guest.
My jollof rice, oh, how you dey do today, baby mo? My tomato just see, oh, I don't dey think about you. It dey make me dey wonder because you love me so tender. Hey, yeah. But now I am darling, cause here is so boring, baby mo. For a very long time, I don't dey shiver. And it be like Senna fever. I dey catch it cold. See I dey catch it cold. I said baby I dey catch it cold. Yes you boy now. I said baby I dey catch it cold. I said baby I dey catch it cold. Now.
Wahala don't come on. I think I found the one, yeah. My heart keeps racing, it just won't stop. So just say the word, anything my baby wants. I'll jump, run as fast as I can get to you. For a very long time, I done the shiver, yeah. And it be like saying a fever. I did catch a cold.
Baby, come, Barubia one. Person go die. Hey yeah, person go die. Hey yeah. Yeah, what's it going to Guemu? Omali talk as a man. I wanna touch non-stop, wanna lean on your shoulder. It is getting colder. See how they catch you go. Oh, you not tomorrow. I said, baby, I stunt on this one, Mr. Flavor. Tiwa Savage. Oh, you. Oh, you.
African Focus. African Focus Show.
Show live.
Yes.
We have a packed house. Let's hear it, guys. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. We have a packed house with us today. We have a lot of information to bring to you. I am your host today, Nicole Simpson, and the African Focus team is with me. And Adi, let's get into some stories.
Okay, remember what I said earlier? If you do not have a story to tell, nobody is going to recognize you. This is a gentleman that has a story to tell. That's why he's been recognized everywhere he steps into. Once again, please help me put your hands together for Dr. and Mrs. Phoebe, please. Please, let's hear it for them. And I'm going to get Dr. Phoebe involved right away, and I'm going to start by asking you, I know everybody, like I just said, everybody has a story. What is yours, Dr. Phoebe? What inspired you to do so much for humanity and for your community, for the African community? Because whenever you call, you represent. You come in, you represent.
Well, thank you for having me on African Focus Show. This is a fantastic show. I'm proud to see what you're doing because it is an evidence of the progress we're making in the African community. I am the product of the benevolence of the American system, coming to America through an ASPA program 50 years ago, and given the opportunity to go to school, become an expert in obesity surgery, and did very well. So I have felt that I have been helped to become what I am, and so in return I try to return to the community in Africa, locally, and wherever the need arises. And I'm joined in this effort by my wife, who is here with me, Helen. We are involved in a lot of community activities, mainly because, as you said, the focus of African goodwill is to say that we are all one.
Right.
Africans in Africa, Africans in the diaspora, we need to come together and realize we're all one. We only do that by helping each other.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well said. Please give him a round of applause. My next question is going to go to Mr. and Mrs. Ezenagu. And the question for me is, well, I just want to know what inspired you to do so much for the community. You have sponsored AFI Student Achievement Award, African Goodwill Award, African Focus Radio Show, and in the community, you have graciously touched many lives without calling press conferences to support that. Like some people like to do. Before they give, they call a press conference first. You given without no press conference. What inspired you to give so much to the community? And most importantly, to give so much to the African Focus? Without you, lights will not be on here.
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having us on the show. It's a great show to know that there's a lot being done for the Africans in the community. Well, for us, it has nothing to do with. We've always wanted to give back. We come from a very humble background, back home, and we try to do what we're doing in America here back home. But the system in Nigeria wouldn't let us to do that. I remember a couple of years ago we did send some medical supplies back to Nigeria, but it never reached the grassroots. So some people intercepted it and used it for their own personal gain. We said, okay, since we can't really do it in Nigeria, we might as well help as much as we can in the American community and give back to what God has given us. And that's by helping the needy as much as we can. Yeah.
Thank you for your response. They said this. Hang on, Angela. Before I lose this thought, I'm gonna give the ladies to give us their opinion. We don't want to leave the ladies out. I'm going to start with you, Mrs. Ford. Wherever your husband's are you there besides him? Because I know, because I'm there too. Remember Beverly Hills Hotel when we used to do the African Times? Every year you guys were there. My dear, tell me, what drives him to do what he does? And I know it's also with your support. What drives you to?
What drives me is him. I am the wing beneath his
Come on,
wing.
let's hear it for him, please.
Basically, I think that the upbringing, we both have a similar upbringing, and our upbringing from our forefathers were you have to give back. And when you give back, you get more. And that has been our reward. We receive by giving back. And he graciously gives back, and it makes me happy to see that someone else is getting something.
Well, I'd like to just add, I know that, as a woman, you're married to Dr. Phoebe, you're African American, but you've also it's kind of been a crossbreed, because you're both focused on giving in the African American community and also in Africa. And I know that you're also involved heavily in charities, several organizations. Talk a little bit about that for us, Mrs. Phoebe. As part of, you're also part of the team, and he supports you as well.
We're saying there are times when, well, I don't do it as much now, but I had a mission one of my missions were to give back to Africa. So every 6 months, I will get a container, I will go to my friends, and I will have them to clean out their closets of things they have not had on in 6 months. And you'll be surprised, ladies and gents, what we have in our closet.
Yes.
And I will literally take these, ship them to Africa, go to Africa, and struggle and get them out of dock, take them to a village, and give them away in a village. But like they say, it is a struggle to get things in Africa, because if you don't go and do it yourself, you get lost at the wayside. But I don't just work in Africa, I do the same here. As she said, I'm involved in the Links, the Deltas, my church, and there's a lot of just small community thing. There's a lot of kids whose life I know I have touched. I received a little letter from a little girl who just finished college. She said, I want you to know I went to college only because I followed you at 5 years old. Today, I'm getting my law degree. And
wow.
That was a blessing. And it's all because my husband allowed me to reach out to the community here in America. And I really appreciate and love him for doing that.
And we love you all for what you do as well.
Thank you. My dear, Mrs. Ezenago.
Thank you for having me.
Same question goes to you.
Well, thank you for having me in the show. And my motto in life is love. I love people. And personally, this journey, my background is nursing, and I'm a mental health nurse. And this journey began by the validation of my clients. Each time I talk to them, they tell me, I feel at peace after you speak to me. There's something you do to me whenever I talk to you. So that was how I started this journey. The confidence was built by my clients. So my journey started by my clients. So I decided to give back to this population that's built me. And it's a ministry to me also. And right now I run an adult day program. The population that I have, I think it's through blessings from God. And that's why I decided to give back to them and take care of them and love them and to try and make changes to that population. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Angela, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, one of the important threads, in this is that this really comes from inside. It's not something that is taught. It's something that people have, and I think it's something, a spirit and a feeling that people have to share and to give. And that's what needs to be shared with others and conveyed to others. We actually, one of our other guests is now here in the studio as well. We want to ask her opinion. We've got Lara Akanubi. Yes. She's from Compassion Without Borders and also one of our 2014 Goodwill Award honorees. So for the past 12 years, she's been heavily involved in community. She's been supporting causes that transform lives and those that need a shoulder to lean on. So she's also an ordained minister and community activist, and her mission impacts our lives. So let's just give her a round of applause. Thank you very much. And maybe you can tell us a little bit about what motivates you and inspires you to do what you do for others.
How much time do you have?
An hour and 15 minutes.
Well, actually, the truth of the matter is that, in my opinion, there's no self-made man or woman. We've all had help. Mm-hmm. Everybody have received some kind of help in your journey to wherever you are right now. Mm-hmm. So why not pass it on?
Absolutely.
Yes. That's what I go by. You pass it on. And for me, it's also more prevalent because even though I grew up from a privileged background, the moral in our family is still you do unto others how you want it done to you. So it's very important that we all have a way of impacting the community. We all have gifts, and I'm going to speak from my ordained ministry. As you know, I am a minister, and the Bible says we all have gifts. So how you choose to use your gift is really up to you. But would you like to have a gift that rottens, or you like to see a gift that blossoms? So when you touch people's lives in whichever way you are capable of doing, nobody's expecting much from anyone. But Mahatma Gandhi says, you be the change that you want to see. Absolutely. And when you look around in the community, there's always something that needs to be changed. There's always something that needs attention. So why not jump in? Some people give up their time. Volunteering is a big deal here in America, and I commend those people. The youth, I commend them because it gives them a sense of the community. So, and some people counsel you. Some people make time to counsel you. Some people are able to give money. There are many ways that you can be a part of your growing community. So folding your hand and sitting back is not an option anymore. So that's what I want to continue.
And the major secret that these guys aren't telling you, you feel so good when you help somebody else. If you've ever helped anybody doing anything, the feeling that you get, you feel like you're receiving something while you're helping others. And these people are helping hundreds and probably thousands of people everywhere.
I agree with you. I mean, because even when your people are feeling down and you complain and you're just like, wow, if you channel that energy and you help somebody else, it lifts you up. It lifts you up. It really does.
One aspect I would like to touch on, which is very important here, is getting together as Africans.
Yes.
What Uche and African Focus is doing is fantastic. Because the world is ruled by the theory of divide and conquer.
Yes.
And it is nice to have a group that is trying to unify us from Africa, irrespective of what part of Africa we come from. And not only that, but bring Africans in the diaspora.
Yes.
So we can now start looking at each other as one, rather than compartmentalizing us, which is what everybody's trying to do, forming different groups. So I would like us to give a hand to those of you hosting this show, and for
Mr. Uchenna.
And for Mr. Uchenna for his sense and aspiration to bring us together.
Yes.
And we will work together to make sure this is successful.
I want to make a quick comment, if you don't
Yes,
mind.
oh, please.
You talked about I'm feeling good when you do stuff like that, and I don't mean to contradict you. A lot of times you don't feel good because it's a great deal of sacrifice.
It is a sacrifice.
A lot of times you're tired, but is it the right thing to do?
Yes.
I know of this man tirelessly giving in the community, Uchenna. I know of this man tirelessly giving in the community. They may not have cash to give you, all that they give, trying to create a fusion, like
Right.
Dr. Phoebe said, of all of us. Let's stop thinking I'm from Ghana, I'm from here. We're all Africans, and we all have to work together to make an impact, because together we stand.
Absolutely.
Yes. And you know, one person can make such a difference. I always refer back to Rosa Parks, who refused to sit on at the back at that point. Yes. And you know, we always say, I'm just one person. I don't think I can make an impact. You know, a couple of weeks ago, I said I like to give people their flowers while they can smell them, because we tend to not appreciate people so much when they're alive, and if they're dying or dead, then we start going, he or she was so wonderful, they did so much. And I really would like, on behalf of African Focus, to thank you guys that are in the studio today, but other people in the community who give, like she said, tirelessly. And yes, you do feel good in spite of when you're tired, when you don't have enough to give, you work a full week and now you're going to donate something. And it really takes a lot, and it takes a special kind of person. And I really want to thank you guys on behalf of African Focus Show. And I want to thank Mr. Paul Babatunde. He's somewhere in the building.
Yes, Paul.
I love saying. See, I learned to pronounce that properly, right? And I know Mr. Uchenna doesn't like it, but you know, so many people always say it was Uchenna. It was Uchenna. He has a vision, obviously. He started this. Look where it is 12 years later. Who knows where it's going to end up? And who knows who you help along the way? Because a lot of times you don't even know who you help. Yes. You know, just by something you said, like you said, somebody called you and said she graduated college because of you, and you don't know the young lady. So when we do things, it reaches far and wide. And thank you, Mr. Uchenna. Thank you, Mr. Babatunde. And we're going to take a break right this minute. And Mr. DJ Nice is going to play something for us. Nice.
She done do me right, oh, but she done spent my money, oh. What am I gonna tell my mommy, oh? I should've listened before. She done do me like Antenna. She just controlling my phone. She done do me like Antenna. I don't get perception no more. She done do me like Antenna. She done chew my mango solo. She done do me like Antenna. 'Cause every day she's switching my mind, oh.
I know I had to get on the remix. One time, two time, Azunto. Yeah, you're ready. I'm ready. Lady,
she wanna chop my pee, do I look like square? I mean, do you really care? 'Cause what's your to keep, you don't really share. I see how you moving there. You better just stay in line. All I wanna do is make you mine. You make my heart beat like playing rhyme. Now you wanna leave and say goodbye. African lady, you know say you drive me crazy. I can't let you do me shady. The things that you do don't face me. London baby, you know say you drive me crazy. I can't let you do me shady. The things that you do don't face me. She done do me right, oh, but she just spent my money, oh. What am I gonna tell my mommy, oh? Should've listened before. She done do me like Antenna. She just controlling my phone. She done do me like Antenna. I don't get perception no more. She done do me like Antenna. She done chew my mango solo. She done do me like Antenna. Every day she's switching my mind, oh.
Tina, 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 Tina. When Haiti hook up with who? With Africa, shut up. Easy, ain't no need for no rocket launcher. Too many ladies up in here want a signature. I'm desperate. This feels like jail. But tell my lawyer I don't wanna make bail. I come last, and she come first. If Gregory Isaac was here, he'd say night nurse. God up in the middle of the time, even though it's wrong, but it feel like the right time. 360 degrees, she got go up in that fucking wine. God up in the middle of the night time, even though it's wrong, but it feel like the right time. 360 degrees, she got me go up in that fucking wine.
This girl, she do me wrong, oh. She do me wrong, oh. Can't believe that she broke her bond, oh. She broke her bond, oh. This girl, she do me wrong, oh. She do me wrong, oh. But when I kill you, make you strong, oh. Make you strong, oh, oh. She done do me right, oh. But she just spent my money, oh.
Check out your my wallet, what day? Me love you very long, 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 long. Pass me your love like a ping pong, cause you ring my bell like a ding dong, ding dong. Oh, cause this love, it no go trouble no one. I know the feeling is strong, but you is a bandit. Never love another like. Go tell my friends them that he would die for me. Go tell my mama, go tell my papa that he would die for me. Go tell my friends them that he would die for me. Go tell my mama, go tell my papa that he would die for me.
For so long I've been waiting, waiting for your love and your body, come take up the money, pretty baby, I'm my honey, we love you for a very long time, long time. You love me when I get a dime, you won't give me you this, you give me that. Me girl so real, she not a copycat. Baby, wine it like that. Me love it when you giving me like that. Boomba, you are a blessing. You came into my life, no more stressing. Say the smile on your face seems impressing. Everything around you seems interesting. Don't let me for so lucky, whatever. You me where you want, teach you everything you need to know, whatever. Show you that I love you so, yeah. For so long I'm waiting, tell your love and your body, come take it to my
Yo, I know, boy. Anyway, Tonga the rhyme with corner. We look and with me to my corner. I won't give you hard drive format. May was Senebe 5 on that. Nice chick, me a chroma. Maybe do nice flick with my Kodak. Freeze, baby cheese. Oh gosh, she body. Maybe boom to sekunka. By the way, for simple, Vida. Cause I decay say me shower revival. But not many more than I'm team and try that. And then, say my chill, I will viber. Swine, you better sabe 6 hours. Now me be on the crash with 20 hours. I know you then chain hallmark. I grown kwa makasa but all because of hunger. Oh I don't know because of hunger. Hey, hunger. Oh, because of hunger. Because of nice couple. We see cancel heading to the tri-castle. What? Who a boy until we can't cuddle? Just say Osha Calvin Klein, Mesha Whitechapel. Sa, Mate. Mean to me, but a meshe within quite semi back. It was say liberty, wappy. Yes, say a fact on the track, me you slow or you fast on a 1 minute, wappy. Nobody say both fruits, maybe boom after all. YOLO, oh my god, sack. Look at her, but busy on the because of hey,
Welcome back to the African Focus Show Live. We are coming to you from RMC Studios in Los Angeles. I am your host today, Nicole Simpson. I have the African Focus team with me. And as you have been hearing, we have some very special guests in house with us today. again, I want you to take a minute and go to your Twitter, go to your Facebook, go to your text, go to your Instagram, your email, whatever you have, your camera. Tell your friends about us. Tell them we are on the air. And, you know, go to our Facebook and our Instagram and like us. Like us a lot. Have your friends like us. So we're back and we want to change the subject. But before we do that, we want to say again, thanks to Arik Airlines and for sponsoring us, and we want to send MoneyGram a thank you, and Ethiopian Airlines because they're African focused sponsors, and again Mr. and Mrs. Ezianuke for helping us bring the African Focus show to you every week and for keeping the lights on in the studio. We are going to change the subject a little bit right now. Our guests in studio have a lot of medical background, so they will be able to help us on this topic. As you all probably know, last week, I believe it was a week before, a young man by the name of Charlie Robinette was shot by a police officer downtown on Skid Row. We don't want to get into the police and what happened and what didn't happen. What we want to deal with here today, because it's widely reported that he has a mental illness. And we want to talk about how we treat mental illness in our community, in the Black community, in the African community, in the Caribbean community, per se. And we want our guests to weigh in and give us some of their background and their experience. When someone in our community, our family, our friends, our schools, even our children sometimes, when they have a mental illness, how should we treat it? How should we handle it? Laura, I'll start with you.
All right, thank you. Mental illness is a very serious problem in the community.
Yes.
And, and like you said, in the Black community, it is probably even more prevalent than we know, but we are in denial of it. There's nothing to be shameful about. It's not a self-inflicted problem. It is not. It is not your fault. But you see, when by the time other people are noticing it in you or in that person, it's gone deep. Yes. So it's not something that happened all of a sudden. You can see the traces. You can see, you can see signs and symptoms of it, and we need to get help. It can happen to anybody. There are some that are born with it. It's a neurological problem, especially people that have developmental disability. Some don't even find out until after they are age 18. Yeah. But there are times that the stress can set it off. If you've been able to subdue it or manage it for some time, when you go through a traumatic situation, it sets it off. And intervention is critical. If you don't have the right intervention at the time it happens, it makes a difference. Yes. So that is what we are talking about today, getting the medical help or attention that is needed. It is not, I'm looking for the right word to qualify it. It is not a stigma. It is not a stigma, yes. But we need to address it. We need to deal with it. We need to talk about it. And also, more important is there are some who have gotten help in terms of the diagnosis, but they don't take their medication. Right. Medication. It is key. There are many people that live a functional life, but they're on a cocktail of medication on a daily basis. Yes. And they're able to function in the community without being seen in a demeaning or degrading mode. But you can still take care of yourself and get a hold of yourself. Right. Value yourself so that people can value you. Right. Take your medication, get help. And these things are kept confidential. But sometimes you need collaboration, you need help. You need a partnership, somebody to remind you to take your medication, to do all that you need to do and we all need support at different levels in life. Yes. So it's not a big deal that somebody knows. But when you have a close family member or a friend that can remind you of what to do to make your appointment, to go for your checkups and stick to your medication. And if the medication is not working, you need to complain. You need to let them know. Yes. And so, because I've encountered quite a number of them that they said the medication makes them drowsy, and for that reason they're not taking the medication. There are adjustments that can be made.
Yes.
You know, but it's more important. Your wellness is more important than the facade of pretending that there's nothing wrong, because
Right.
eventually everybody is going to see that there is something wrong, and at that point, it may be too hard,
Right.
too difficult
Right.
to.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'm coming to you, Emike. Tell us how do you think it should be handled?
Well, personally, I think we should backtrack a little bit. First of all, it's so important that we take care of ourselves, our mental health, because some of us from Africa, we tend to walk around the clock, not taking care of ourselves. We have families back home to take care of and families here to also take care of. So it puts us on auto drive. We walk, we don't rest, we don't exercise, we don't eat properly because we are always in a hurry. And I'm urging everybody to please take care of yourselves. Find something that you love to do, a hobby. Take your regular exercises. Have your 8 hours sleep. Eat proper diet. These are things that are key to a wholesome person, wholesome living, and we tend to ignore it. A lot of people have mental illness from birth, but it could be if you have if you live a good life, it might not even emerge or be noticed. But sometimes we live these very stressful lives and they tend to show up. And when it shows up, family members should encourage the person to please seek help. We spend money on ashebi, all these very expensive attires and exotic trips, but we don't want to spend money on counseling when we encounter very serious, stressful situations in our lives. Counseling is very important. Seek counseling, seek medical help. You know, those things really, really help. Back home, we had relatives to talk to or some kind of social support system. But most of us here kind of feel alone, nobody to talk to, and it makes it worse. When you're an African in diaspora, it makes it worse for us. So please, yes, when you are in Rome, you act like the Romans. Here, when people are going through problems that they feel they cannot help, they seek counseling. So we need to learn to do that too. Seek counseling and you'll be directed to the right path, and that helps a lot. So that's my contribution to this topic for now.
Yes, if I may add, a lot of the problems that we encounter, it hinges on absolute denial on the part of people that have a mental disability. I remember when my wife and I we happened to be in Atlanta, and I wanted to see one of my very close friends. And when we went out to see him, he lived in a crack house, and it was obvious that he had some serious mental issues. So we offered to send him to a counseling center, and that we're going to pay for it, as long as he gets the required help that he needed. And he was in such a big denial that he said, no, instead of that, we should give him the money so that way he can take care of himself.
That's enough.
And this individual went to Georgia Tech. He did engineering, and he worked for a government contractor in DC for a while. All of a sudden, he just went nuts and moved into a crack house, lost all lost the family and everything. So denial is a big part of the problem. If one can own up and get redirected to the right resource that can offer a lot of help, that will be very helpful as well.
Difference, yeah.
I think another thing that would be a lot of help, family, support. There are times when someone has a problem and we as the family hide that problem.
Yes.
We don't know what to do, but we don't ask anyone else because we don't explain it to anyone else. We take the child or the person and push them aside. We have to come together as a family and say, okay, sister, I have a problem. I don't know how to handle it. And that would also help the person who has a mental problem because they can see themselves as not being shoved back.
Doctor?
Well, I look at it differently, not opposed. I'm bit older and look at it from the African perspective of ignorance. Back home, people who have mental issues are considered cursed. They have the demon, which is what is unfortunate.
Right.
And for us to really address it as Africans, we have to look back at that root where we came from and how it affects dealing with those who have mental problems.
Yes.
And once we can look at that, then we would understand better how to deal with it, because we do not accept mental problems in Africa, period. From the time I was in Nigeria going back to Cameroon, they were on the streets, they were left homeless. And so the thing about shelters like this young man had here was in Africa a long time ago, because those people with mental problems ended up in the street. So that's one aspect. But how do we deal with it? I think education.
Yes.
We cannot prescribe a particular cure here, because we leave that to the experts.
Right.
But a forum like this and any other forum where we Africans get together, we have to talk about some of the things that my colleagues have talked about.
Yes.
Taking care of yourself, not overworking, not overstressing, exercising. And then also recognizing that some people might have mental problems and be able to talk about it.
Yes.
Those are the things I can talk about. But when once somebody has a mental problem, I'll leave that to the experts, because that's not my area.
Right.
But I'm just talking from the societal approach.
Yes.
Go back and look at our roots. Stop blaming fate for what happens to us. We in Africa have a reason why somebody died. Nobody just dies. There's a curse.
That's true. Yeah.
There's a curse why somebody is talking to himself. So we have to deal with all these things. And I think this forum allows us to talk about it. And I really appreciate the fact that we can do it. And I hope we can talk about this some more.
One of the problems that I think happens in the Black community, because a lot of it happens in the Caribbean community also, when certain things happen, like mental illness, like sexual abuse, or the family, the uncle, the brother is abusing. There are certain things we just pretend that if we act like it doesn't exist, it will go away. And thank God it's changing now, where when you were handicapped, we used to just laugh at you and go, he walked funny. Nobody realized that the person was really crippled and they couldn't walk any better. And we had the St. Anne's Hospital at home. We call it Crazy House. When you go, where's such and such? Oh, she up at the madhouse. Yeah. And we used to and we would laugh because, and I think, like you said, it's out of ignorance. I don't think they knew when people were laughing. They didn't understand that this person couldn't help themselves. And as I think all of you have said, if you can find someone to confide in, because, I had a friend recently who was going through some depression, and she didn't even know what she was going through, and she chose not to talk to anybody. We couldn't hear from her for months. And then I have another friend that I met like the last 6 years. Her son committed suicide, and she said she had the hardest time trying to get help because, there are the laws and the rules, and this doesn't work, and you have to go here and you have to sign up there. And he's telling her, I'm hearing the voices. They're telling me to kill myself. They're telling me to kill myself. And she went through the hardest time, and then one day she drove up, and at 22, there he was. He did it. So having someone to confide in, someone that you trust, and that person being open to you and listen, even if you don't understand, listen, take it in, and say, I'm not sure how to advise you at this point. Let me think about it a little bit more or something. Because the worst thing is to come pour your heart out to somebody, and then they laugh at you, or they go tell everybody or something like that. You wanted to say something,
Yes,
Lauren?
I wanted to add, because, Dr. Phoebe did touch on it a little bit, but there's a difference between stressors and stressor breakdown and those that are clinically sick.
Yes.
Those that stress themselves out, like my sister was saying, yes, when you take a downtime, when you get some rest, when you get you can recover from that,
right.
But when you have a clinical situation,
right.
it needs to get a medical attention. And we're very good in our community of self-medicating ourselves. You go to the counter, you get all those things and whatever, and things is going to go away. Temporarily may go away, especially even amongst the children. You have children now going off to college, and they're overwhelmed by all of these things. There's this panic attack, all kinds of stuff, and somebody is introducing different treatment to them. They may calm down temporarily, but they need to get attention. Thank God for the Affordable Care, California Affordable Care. You can talk to your primary doctor. But particularly in children, this is the field that I work in. People with mental disability and physical disability, especially people with autism and some Down syndrome and a lot of those other issues lumped together. Intervention is key. Intervention is key. So in the African community, Ghanaian community, whatever community we are still people, and we are not, we're not untouchable. Right. Like my brother said, we may be in denial, but it still does not make it go away. It doesn't make it go away. So please, if you have any young child, especially right now, Early Start is dealing with that. If you have a young child or you notice a young child in your community who is not acting right, persuade them to get help. That's what this is about. It's about sharing the information and going forward with it.
So we did just beat you. If you weren't acting right, we just got to take the broom and then call one, beat the daylights out of you, as opposed to saying, this child is not acting right, maybe something is wrong. And it seems like that's what happens in the third world countries a lot. We just discipline and not take a moment to go, maybe something is wrong. Angela.
Yeah, I'm just saying, that I think that one of the issues that people have a lot of shame, people's belief system. You're embarrassed to say, I have a problem. And a lot of times, people thinking that, that you're possessed by a demon or whatever it might be, people are isolated. So people have to feel that, that nobody's going to if they come forward. But I mean, also, if you look at like young people, for example, a lot of these kids that have mental issues that are doing things in school, like Combine and, like the bomber, the guy that bombed the movie theater, or the people that are, in schools, going on shooting rampages. Those people, it's kind of like after the fact. I mean, their parents are embarrassed, but it's like after the fact is when we find out. So it's like a sleeping giant. So you don't see it until it's too late. So, a lot of that, the parents know this, so they need to come forward and really do something and not say that it's out of their hands, especially if they recognize it, because, again, after the fact, we're always saying, well, the parents knew, but they didn't do whatever, or, and this is what needs to be brought up in the schools as well, I think, that it's, and just encourage people to not be ashamed and not be embarrassed, and somebody to speak up if you see that, your child or loved one or spouse or companion is having a problem.
Well, with the freedoms that come with America, there's also sometimes such a thing as too much freedom. We won't go into the child's room. We don't know what music the child is listening to. We don't know, how could somebody be building a bomb in your house and you don't know it, or they're packing a ton of guns? You have no clue. I think parents need to have a deeper relationship with their kids, especially the teenage years. And the thing is, I don't have any children, but you guys all know, and I have a nephew and a niece that I'm really close with. You don't start when they're 18.
When they're
if you don't have that relationship already, they're not going to start telling you all their stuff at 16 or 17. Yeah. So you need to start from young and
stay in touch with what your kids are doing. Yeah. I mean, I firmly believe in knowing that, like, I don't have any kids, but like my niece, my nephew, younger sisters and brothers, you want to know what they're to. And I mean, and parents are scared. It's like, you can't be scared. That's the generation that we all grew up in. It's like our parents knew what we were listening to. Our parents knew who you were on the phone with. Our parents knew, who your friends were. And people's parents down the street also had the ability to discipline you.
Well, right now, what we're going to do is to catch a breath, take a break. Before we go to the music, can you please tell us the last few pieces that you played for us? I don't think your mic is on.
It should be on, right? Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you.
So it was my own mix. It's a Party Ranking featuring Team Savage, Sarkozy, Tugger, VVIP, and the title Selfie. It's like 3 artists.
And you're gonna play for us now?
That was the one I played before.
Now.
Done. I'll give you the rest. Okay.
So we're gonna go right back to you, and we'll have more on the subject.
I present my love to you. The girl I want marry, the girl I want
track on it. What else? Double it. Ready?
Bad girl, come wine, pon the ting, pon the ting, pon the ting. Bad girl, come sit down, pon the ting, pon the ting, pon the ting. Bad girl, come here, give me some beke. Chat, give me chale. Bad girl, come here, give me some beke. Give me chale.
I hit you in the morning, hit you the same in the night. When it was a big you don't turn on the light. 69 and 6, I bet you could love it. Give it to me, make you wake up your body. Stand from the bed, like we here in the lobby. Sometimes you make me wanna touch your name on my body. Put it on me, just put it on me, cause I'm loving it. All the things I wanna do, I can only imagine. It be only me, nobody else have it. It's me, myself, and I so you know what time it is. We take it from the floor, all the way to the sofa. You forget it's more, you know that I'm a soldier. We be breaking the laws, that means I'm gonna hold ya. I know we'll stop until it's over.
Bad girl, wine, pon the ting, pon the ting, pon the ting. Bad girl, sit down, pon the ting, pon the ting, pon the ting. Bad girl, come here, give me some beke. Mr. Flavor, Valley Dance, and a shower remix. What you gonna continue? Alcohol. Don't please the wine. Baby, baby, fire they go. All the boys sit down colo, and they want some poro potom potom pom. She got the pion 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 pion. Waka waka baby, ooh baby, corner baby. And I go tell my mama, and I go tell my papa, and I go tell them say, you be waka waka baby, you be chuku chuku baby, baby sawale, sawa sawa sawale, sawa sawa sawale. Hey, pom pom, iporo pom, ipom pom, iporo pom, ipom pom, iporo pom, ipom pom, iporo pom. Akolopa, 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 ipom pom. Ajari papa, ukuma baby, achukurebe, ipom pom. Ashawo, awusha, awusha, ashawo, ashawo, awusha, ipom pom. Pom pom. Andu baby sawa lele, sawa 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 le.
African Focus. African Focus Show.
Welcome back to the African Focus Show Live. We are coming to you live from our studios in Los Angeles, and we have a packed house, and we thank you for listening and for telling your friends. We want to get back to the topic that we're talking about: mental health issues, and more importantly, mental health issues in the African community, be it Africans from Africa, from the Caribbean, or in America. And we want to have our guests take over. And one of the first questions I have for you is, there's a stigma that comes with mental health, especially in our communities. How do you deal with the stigma, and what suggestions do you have for us getting help, be it from the government, from the city, from the state, from each other private companies? What do you suggest? Laura, we'll start with you and just go around the road.
I will start with this. If you change the way you look at things, the things you see will change.
Yes.
You have to understand that this is your life. That's the starting point. Whether you're a parent or you are the person who needs the help. Getting help. In our community in general, there are many issues that we don't get help with or for.
Yes.
A lot of people carry a medical insurance, they don't go for their medical checkup. Especially men in our community.
Yes.
You know, it's like you have to beat them for medical checkup.
Yes.
Diabetes, hypertension, high blood pressure, all of these issues are treatable. When you get the right intervention at the right time and you do what you're supposed to do, it makes a difference. Mental illness, you can still live a functional life. It is not a stigma. And if I have to go back a little bit to where we come from in Nigeria, for example, people who have mental issues, or even people who are crippled, people who have cerebral palsy, you know, they are looked at as the menace, you know, looked at as the menace of the community. Those who, not to even talk about those who have mental issues. It's a cultural shock for my family members to come here and see what I do for a living, because I have a skill training center in which I support individuals with developmental disability to live a functional life, and they do. They are human beings. They have a lot to offer. They may be short in certain things here and there, just like you and I are. So I'm using that platform to encourage parents, particularly people of African community. If you fail to get help, you have already dictated the end of that person, because it gets to a point where you can't recall it. But if you get help at the right time, anything you notice, these are not things that you can treat with over-the-counter medication. If you know, even if for you yourself, if you're not feeling well, like my sister alluded to before, there's nothing that happens all of a sudden. If you're not feeling well, don't overdose yourself with Tylenol or painkillers. You need to get help. A lot of people drop dead for many reasons. It could be stress, it could be heart attack, for whatever the reasons are. But you yourself, you cannot be in denial. You have been experiencing some symptoms that you're not talking about. But focus more on this mental subject. It is not your fault, so you cannot be ashamed about it. These are neurological challenges that you have no control over. Some of them came from the formation, the connection of, forming the, the doctors in the house will allude to that, the sperm connecting together. Sometimes you have too much of the neurons, and you have no control over that. You have no control over that. So it is what it is. You are where you are. How do you move forward from this point onwards?
Let's look at this from a different perspective. I was thinking as I saw us discussing this issue, what is really pertinent in the society. What you're addressing now are medical issues. And my thinking is that most people who have those well-diagnosed medical issues do get attention. The problem is the other things that occurs in our society, like kids falling away and getting into drugs, alcoholism, thievery, we call Nigeria 419. I think we as a community, that's why I try to deal with groups like African Focus to see how we can help our brothers and sisters who immigrate to this land of apple pie, and see how we can help them get into the system, understanding the rules and regulations to prevent them from deteriorating into this corrupt world of drugs, thievery, and trying to get rich fast, which is, I think, one of the biggest mental problems I see here among Africans. Trying to get rich fast. When they see Emeka, they thought his money came from some quick fix. They don't realize that it takes time, perseverance, education to accomplish. And we have to put this message out there, because I see that more of a problem than dealing with people who are schizophrenics or with depression, because those people are easily diagnosed and they're taken care of by the system. And that's one thing I know about Africans. When they get in here, they'll learn how to take benefit of the system, the social system, getting the kids qualified as handicapped or not, and getting the necessary benefits. But what they don't understand is, how do you prevent these kids from getting into the drug world, trying to make money fast through credit cards, and trying to steal things here and ship back home and hope to make money fast? But that's an area where I think coming together as Africans and having sessions where we interact with our children will help.
Well, Dr. Fobi, that's a completely different subject, and probably the host might take it for another day. But mental illness in our community is real, and they're not getting the help like you think. One of the before we took off, the host mentioned that members of our family are shipping their children back home. because they can't deal with this problem. You know, they are helpless.
Yes.
Which means they're not getting the help that they will. And you're right, when it comes to getting social benefits, social security, whatever, they know where to go for that. But it's like it is, we go back to the word a stigma.
Yes.
People in Nigeria, especially even those who experience sexual abuse, and they're abused by uncles, brothers, people who know them, you know, and then the child grows up, of course they're traumatized, you know. All of those feelings are suppressed. They're not getting the counseling, they're not getting the attention that they need. But mental illness, because I work in this field, it is real, and I'm probably more passionate about it.
Yes.
You know, it is real. People are hiding their children behind closed doors. They're not letting them get out. And you know, it may even start off for some people. Maybe depression starts to, you know, expose itself, but they're not getting the help that they need. And I'm trying to stress that it is not your fault.
Right.
Change the way you're looking at it, and get the help that you need.
Yes.
You know.
What do you think?
Well, I really think that the media is not helping issues, because the movies they have about people with, say, schizophrenia or other mental illnesses are typically people who are unpredictable and very dangerous. So the people find it very scary to deal with such individuals with quote-unquote mental illnesses. So bringing awareness among the community members of these illnesses and letting them know that they don't have to be, it's not everybody who's mentally ill that is dangerous or physically aggressive or any of those, you know, traits that the media has portrayed, you know. So creating groups where we have interactions with them and would kind of alleviate that feeling or that fear or bias, and make people understand that they're just like you and I, you know, and they don't have to be violent or dangerous to be with.
Right.
So raising awareness is something we need to really think about and talk about, and this can be formed by groups, non-profit organizations, our churches, like Miss Lara had mentioned before. So awareness is very key to this situation.
Yeah, if I can piggyback on what my wife just mentioned, the African community needs to understand that this is the right environment for them to be in, because the resources are all over the place. I don't understand the sense in trying to ship them back to Nigeria, where there is no form of resources to, you know, contain this kind of illness, because once they go back there, they become statistics, and nobody really cares. So that awareness and absolute involvement by friends, family members, parents, you know, needs to be there, you know, to encourage them and, you know, keep encouraging them and push them towards receiving the right treatment they need at the right time. Like Miss Lara said too, it's very time sensitive, because the longer it takes, the deeper the roots are there, and you know, it gets tougher to address.
And if I may add to that, I think the reason behind shipping them back home is their belief that it's a spiritual problem or it's voodoo, a curse or something, and then maybe when they go back home, the native doctors will heal them. Okay, so that's the belief system. So we want to put out there that mental illness is real, it's medical, and it's not your fault. And for people, sometimes people see homeless people as druggies.
Yes.
I'm not going to fit into their drug habits. I don't have time to give them any extra money. Please. It's not always a drug habit or alcohol habit. It could be from birth. You know, it could be genetics. I'm not an expert in this field, but I understand it may be so. So please, let's be more let's have empathy on this population, and help as much as we can. Sow a seed, and you see yourself. God will God will
intervene.
But it still goes back to that same, awareness issue.
Awareness,
letting them know, hey, the help is here. The help is here, especially here in America.
Yeah.
The help is here. You need to endeavor and understand it and accept the fact that you have this illness, and that's the beginning of your healing.
Yeah.
Ms.
And a lot of that.
I do want to hear from Miss Helen.
Go ahead.
Listen, I agree that help is here.
Yeah.
But you have to know where the help is. Yeah. A lot of time we say just go there, but you don't know what to ask for when you go there. So we need to get together as family members and help these individuals know this is what you need. Because sometimes you see things, it's there, but you don't tell no one.
Yeah.
If I see my sister has a child and the child needs some help, I go, oh, sister, your child is sick. But do I say, sister, take your child over here, perhaps they can help it.
Yeah, but
that comes back to what Emeka said. After years of trying to do things in Africa,
yes,
I found out we Africans of the diaspora should start doing things for ourselves here.
Yeah, yes.
And that is one thing you said, which only comes after you've tried.
Yes.
Because the problems there are so abysmal that when you go there, you're just scratching the surface. You don't really accomplish much.
Yeah.
But you can do more here in this community, among the African community.
Yeah.
And you all have stressed it. It's awareness that mental illness is an entity that can be treated.
Yeah.
And I think as a group we can bring about that awareness and talk openly about it, and also try to direct people to where these services are available. And I think that is a very important thing. I think coming together and being able to discuss issues will help a lot.
Miss Helen, were you finished?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the starting point is your primary doctor. The primary doctor knows whether to make referral to the psychiatrist or whatever, but the starting point, because it's a medical issue that needs to be ascertained for whatever it is. Because somebody lost their mind or they're just crazy because you lost your key or whatever, that does not mean you have mental illness. It's deeper than that. But this mental illness has also transcended into another direction, another big problem for the whole community, which is homelessness.
Right.
If you go to downtown Los Angeles, the homeless population is huge.
Right.
It is huge, and a lot of them are veterans. And veterans coming back from the war, the trauma, and all of those issues. These are also other mental problems that have evolved as a result of their life experiences.
We are going to wrap this up when we come back. We're going to take a break right now. And DJ, we're going to get something really nice from you. And we'll kind of close out this subject when we come back.
Bebe mi Olúwa,
back to the African Focus Show Live. If you have been listening to us today, our stick was a bit deeper. We want to thank our guests for their major contributions. And if you know someone in your family, in your friends, your associates that you think might have a problem, be sensitive. Find out the right way to approach them and suggest help. There are many places you can get help, but like Miss Helen said, sometimes we don't know where to go. You get sent around in many places. Right now, as you may recall, we have an exciting event coming up on April 25th. It's the Oscars African style. As Audie likes to say, yes, let's hear it. As Audie likes to say, it's where culture meets fashion, and Audie is planning on winning that fashion show. So we want to hear what's going on, and Angela, you have the 101.
Okay, basically, like I said, this is our 12th annual event, and this is the biggest event, in town, on this side of town. Please make sure that you get your tickets at www.africanfocus.org, or speak to your local African Focus board member or friend. That might be me or you or whoever. But make sure you get your tickets. It's going to be a phenomenal evening. We're going to have a fashion show. People are getting honored for the good work that they do, and the African Family Induction Ceremony is just going to be absolutely off the chain. So, we would like everybody to participate. My earphones are falling off. But yeah, please make sure you get your tickets. April 25th, 2015 at the Radisson LAX Hotel, which will also be known as the Concourse once they finish their renovation. So, all right. Well, we are, kind of getting to the end of the show. And, African Focus, we believe that hosting a program like the African Family Induction encourages dialogue between continental Africans and also African Americans and others of the diaspora here. It's also our belief that tremendous progress is made if the destruction of families and lives that occurred during slavery are addressed. So, we think that it starts with the continental African families taking a look at what happened, and also taking a sincere and honest step to acknowledge, that slavery has occurred, and acknowledge that the family has been broken, and work towards restoring the dignity within our families and also within the families whose families were torn apart, which are all of our families. And one of the things that African Focus does argue further is that we can do this. We can accomplish this by providing Africans in the diaspora an opportunity to share their African destiny. So, that includes teaching, economic practices, culture, African American history in Africa, and African history here in America, quite frankly. So that's what we believe in, and we believe in providing, the people of the diaspora unconditional citizenship. I mean, regardless of whether you're an actual citizen of Africa or not, because we are all children of the continent. So.
Yes. Angela, to add up to the events on the 25th, I see you're honoring John Frundi.
Yes.
Which I think is a very good move, because she is a Cameroonian who brought democracy to Cameroon.
Absolutely.
And it is time we start looking at our leaders who have contributed to development and recognizing them. And that would help other people to aspire into positions where they can stand up against oppression.
Yes.
And this man, the fact that African Focus chose to give him a Life Achievement Award, I think was a very important step. And I think we should do that tomorrow. Thank you.
Really excited about that. We
Yes.
really
Angela, why don't we thank our sponsors at this point?
All right. Well, first of all, we're going to thank our sponsors again. We'd like to thank Ethiopian Airlines for their support, Arik Airlines, MoneyGram, and Quality of Life Incorporated. Also, we want to thank our founder and visionary, Uchenna Dworga, for Family African Focus and giving us all an opportunity to be here, because without him, the show would not be possible as well. Let's give everybody a hand. Our sponsors, our patrons. And we want to continue to show some special love to the Ezenagu family, because without them, the lights would be out.
And we can't emphasize that enough.
So, we also want to thank the owner of our studios, Mr. Johnny Morris and RMC Studios. We want to shout out to our loyal listeners for tuning in faithfully to the African Focus Show each and every Saturday, 12 o'clock Eastern Time, 12 o'clock Pacific Time, 3 o'clock Eastern Time. and this continues to promote the family and wellness of the African family at large. So we want to continue building a bridge of love and understanding with all people, and I'm going to give it back to Nicole.
Yes. At this point, I want to go around the room and give everybody about 30 seconds to 1 minute to just wrap up the day. And we're going to start with you, Laura, and we're going to work our way around the room.
Well, my 30 minutes is, speaking of awareness, April 18 at the Rose Bowl, Autism Awareness. Come and participate in the walk and support to find a cure.
And where can they find you?
Not me.
No.
At the Rose Bowl.
At the Rose Bowl, but where can they find information is what I really meant.
Google.
Just Google it?
Google, yeah, Google it. Autism Awareness at the Rose Bowl.
Okay, so Google Autism Awareness at the Rose Bowl.
Yes.
And they'll get the information there.
Yes, thank you.
Miss Helen.
Okay, I agree with Angela on the board. We would like to see you out for our affair on April the 24th. So please, 25th, please come out and look beautiful.
Oh, okay.
Well, again, the African community needs to get together. We have been divided, and the economics divides and conquers. And when we realize the strength of working together as Africans, helping each other, will make a difference. All of this is economics. Thank you.
Yes, I'm urging every person in the African community to continue promoting the cause and help in whichever way you can, and that will make a big difference.
Well, thanks for having us here, and spread the love. Thank you.
Spread the love. Miss Angela?
I'm so excited about all of this because, I mean, every day we learn something different, something different that can make a difference in your life or in somebody else's life. So I just want to encourage all the good work and keep the family moving.
DJ, tell us what last you played for us.
Do you actually know I play like 6 songs in a row?
Well,
so when you come back on me, like at the last minute, you put me on the spot. Like, okay, which one do you really want me to tell
all
you?
6.
All 6. I had P Square in that last mix. I had a new cat in Uganda. His name is Eddie Kenzo.
Yes.
Yeah, I had him in the mix too.
Okay, great. And are you going to be anywhere this weekend that you should know?
This weekend, yes, I'm at Fairfax.
Fairfax is a big street.
Fairfax and Olympic. The restaurant is called Rosalind's.
Rosalind.
Yes.
Okay, you can find him there. And you, our dear listeners, we want to thank you for coming back every week. We want to thank you for telling your friends about us. And again, go to our Facebook, African Focus Show, on Facebook or Instagram, and like us and tell your friends about us. We hope you gathered something from our show today. Each one help one. We love you. We thank you for coming every week. And again, we want to grow. We want you to bring your friends with us. We wish you abundance. We wish you love. We wish you health and peace. See you next time.
African Focus Show.
I swear you too tight, baby, no. And everybody wanna mingle because you're just single, but you made it clear to them that I am your number one. Put up your eyes on me, it dey make me one color. My heart desire. What a man and a bed, what a one, baby, the boom, baby, go by person.